media right now, so our apologies for that. My fantasy team victorious. The Gay Boys not victorious. Van Nunley doesn't matter. What failed? What happened this weekend? Give us your recap, boys, of the weekend in the world of fantasy football.
A lot of players were not good. It was a very low-scoring week one, and you just can't panic. You got to trust your guys.
I mean, we scored – Simon and I, the Deuces year, Team Deuces year,
Yeah.
lost, only scored 86 points, and it was because Amon-Ra St. Brown and Chris Olave combined for a whopping 8 points. So I'm pretty sure the Bills' backup running back had more points than that. So the point is, you have a lot of guys this week. I think it was like 34 touchdowns in week one. It's typically high 50s, low 60s. It's been like that for the last 5 or 6 years. So if you had a guy who you really like or you went really high in the draft, don't panic. He's going to be fine. You cannot make an impulse decision after week one. We see it every year.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Ogletree for the Cowboys scoring 3 touchdowns and stuff like that. And then, so you just, if he's a stud, you got to give him more time. It's a very low scoring week. Next week, there could be 70 touchdowns. Who knows?
Wait. What do you know about Ogletree?
I know he was like, he had a great week one and then fell off the face of the earth after that.
Wow. I'm impressed. I don't think any non-Cowboy fan would name drop Kevin Ogletree.
The look of the opening weekend was a different one in the world of fantasy. We'll go into that at length. We'll talk about players you need to get at every position. We'll talk about players you need to lose at every position as well. We're going to have a fun one today. I thought the funnest fantasy story of the weekend was guys who didn't draft Justin Fields, and then they said, well, if he's right here, let's just throw him in. He wasn't the most productive, but if you're like me and you really need to replace Will Levis, like he's a guy that's sitting out there looking available. Quarterback player of the weekend. I think that's where we should start. What did you boys think? Was there any sort of fantasy impact that was the impact? Was there any sort of fantasy slump that you think isn't a slump and it's a trend?
So a slump – guys like, so this was my biggest thing. I had Dak and Jared Goff, two typically, top 12 quarterbacks. I was expecting a big week from Goff, and it didn't happen. He's the man indoors. That's when he's indoors, he's at 20 points minimum. He got like 12 or something like that. So guys like that, be patient. They're figuring stuff out. Rams have a good defense. They took away Amon-Ra St. Brown. They took away Sam Laporta. And then I also had Dak Prescott. I did not envision them getting ahead like that. He didn't have to do anything.
Right.
I mean, they were talking about he threw for like 170 yards and a touchdown. The Browns were atrocious.
Deshaun Watson today not put on the NFL's commissioner exempt list or whatever the verbiage is for that thing. Yeah. He is not currently sitting there. I guess Cleveland will play him. I personally wouldn't if I was part of that family. You guys have an opinion on Deshaun Watson moving forward in the world of fantasy?
I mean, they're gonna play him because of how much money he's making.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of time with what happens with that situation. I mean, he's already resolved 23 of the 24, so he's probably gonna resolve this one too because he seems to be good at it.
I guarantee you, there's some briefcases being slid under some tables to make sure the NFL suspends Deshaun Watson so the Browns can get out of that contract.
He sounds like a lunatic, man. And the story that came out yesterday, just another one added on top of it.
He is not of sane mind. I mean, I think that's the safest sentence. Yeah, there's no kind words for him.
No, and it's nice that he sucks at football.
Yeah,
because we don't have to say anything good. We don't have to sit here and be like, I know you don't want to do it. You need to play him. No, don't play him. He's terrible.
If he keeps being quarterback 18, you can just keep leaving him on the free agency.
He's a guy you easily could get rid of and pick up. We'll talk about two guys here. I like Baker Mayfield. I mean, that was an unbelievable. Funny that he used to be the Browns quarterback.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. I mean, as efficient as it gets, like 5 or 6 incompletions, 4 touchdowns. Now, the Washington defense is brutal, which that's another issue. But I think he's going to consistently be good. They're going to let him chuck it. He did it all year last year. He was a top 10 quarterback last year. That's a trend I think is going to continue, despite it's not a great matchup next week.
I'm the guy that thinks quarterbacks make wide receivers, and I think the one exception to that might be Mike Williams. Mike Williams –
do you mean Evans?
My mistake. Mike Evans performs with every quarterback he has. Recognize he had Tom Brady for 5 minutes, but it doesn't matter who Tampa Bay throws out there. Mike Evans produces, and I believe Baker Mayfield is a product of Mike Evans' talent.
Yeah,
Mike Evans is a steal in the draft every year. Undervalued every year, puts up numbers every year. Just set it and forget it. Get you some Mike Evans. Only got him on one, but the price is always right.
I don't think I got him anywhere just based on where it fell. But, I mean, he's arguably a first ballot, definitely second ballot Hall of Famer, 1,000 yards every single season of his career. And no, Fred, I think you're spot on. Very rare. Usually quarterbacks make the player.
Yeah.
But this is Baker was brutal everywhere except here. Maybe if the Browns would give him some weapons. I mean, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans is a top 5 wide receiver duo in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's what Baker gets to do.
Another thing about Baker, I think, is you hit the word consistent, and I think that's really good for him because he's gotten consistently better like each year, and he's been a consistent incline, and he does have pretty much the same receiving core. So I don't think there's any reason for him to slouch off as far as passing yards.
And keep in mind, Baker Mayfield threw for 4,900 yards when he was healthy with the Browns, threw for 4,500 yards when he was healthy with the Bucks. Like, dude can ball. All he needs is a little help.
And the confidence, let him sling it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Johnny, I don't think there would have ever been any doubt. Like, I think what happened with Manziel is why we were a little hesitant to think Baker would be able to pull it off. But then not only did he prove it on the field, but off the field, I give him all the props in the world. Because, I mean, he used to be grabbing at his stuff and everything at the other sideline, throwing up middle fingers. And, you don't see any of that anymore.
I love
it's in there somewhere. It's in there somewhere, but he's professional with it.
Well, it goes back to before professional days too, when he was in college. And if you remember at OU, he stuck the flag in the middle of the field, and he was a guy who was ready to WWE this thing, out of the gate, and he did that. He wasn't afraid to. Speaking of guys who were really good in college, Aaron Rodgers is not good anymore. He don't know how to play no football, boys.
I thought he looked okay. I mean, he made passes. He missed a few of them, but that's his first game back. Although there was one funny thing. He didn't throw to the right side of the field a single time. Everything was to the running back and to the left side, every single pass.
Is that an Achilles thing?
I have no idea. But it's an interesting stat. And
Kirk Cousins, he hit Lazard going up the right side on that free play touchdown.
It was middle. But
like hash mark out.
Yeah.
No, none of them.
The 49ers are an awful team to have to judge somebody off of, though.
There you go. Beat me to it.
Yeah, even if there's somebody that has been playing. But as far as Rodgers, I mean, he's as good as a rookie as in his first game. Coming against the 49ers, they're going to be setting him up, showing him things. It's not what it is. I think he did good. At least he didn't have a bunch of turnovers. The interception was fluke as far as I'm concerned.
Is there any crazy storyline here with Jordan Mason? Does Jordan Mason – is he the number one waiver claim, obviously? But then after that, is Jordan Mason going to change the workload for Christian McCaffrey? Because old boy shined last night.
No, I don't think it changes anything.
No.
Shanahan is a one running back guy going back to Devonta Freeman with the Falcons when he had like one of the greatest seasons.
28 carries, 147 yards.
Yeah, I mean, he got game scripted into that. As soon as he started getting stuffed early on, like he had a couple bad runs, they went away from it. He's fantastic when he's in. And if McCaffrey's out, he's a top 12 guy. Get him in there. I'd pay up for him for fantasy. He's worth the waiver claim or the free agent bidding dollars, all of that. But who were we talking about before that? Rodgers. I want to go back to Rodgers for a second.
Yep.
So I thought he actually looked pretty good. Like Zay said, terrible team to judge on his performance. Their play calling is so bad. It's handoff. Hey, it's 3rd and 7. Let's find Garrett Wilson in the soft cover. I thought the play calling was brutal. I mean, he's played for 15 years.
13 of 21, 167 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Let him chuck it a little bit. I mean, I get you got to ease him into it, but there's nothing downfield. There was one. It just was really bad play calling, and that's just because the Jets are a joke.
It's just because the same offensive coordinator that what's his name?
Hackett.
Nathaniel Hackett. He's horrible. Horrible head coach. Horrible offensive coordinator.
I think Salas kind of sucks too.
They love him.
He's on the hot seat, man.
Yeah, he's not good.
Good dude. He's kind of like he's like a Vrabel. Like, how did the Titans fire Vrabel? Because the team wasn't good. So is he actually very likable? Like, if the Lions sucked, you'd be like Dan Campbell. I mean, he hasn't called plays. He doesn't do much.
Sure.
So what is Salas really doing? I mean, I don't know. Bad decisions last year, not getting a quarterback after Rodgers went down. I didn't like the effort last night.
You got a scrap last year when it comes to Saleh. You judge him by this year. If he can't win with this team, like that potentially number one defense and a Hall of Fame quarterback and a play-making wide receiver and running back, if he can't do it this year, he's in trouble.
Well, he would screw – if you get – sorry, Isaiah, to cut you off, but if you gave him some of the most iconic and historic defenses in the NFL, he'd find a way to screw those up too.
You're about to find out this year.
Yeah, he don't have it. And I think players – no, this is my opinion. Professional players who get paid. I don't mean weird high school kids or college kids that buy into movements or whatever. I'm talking like guys who get paid. They don't buy into rah coaches. They don't buy into catchphrases and all this. They're just there to do work.
Yeah.
And I feel like the work you have to give is, here's how you win with a scheme. Here's how you win with an approach.
Yeah.
Trust whoever.
Yeah, and you kind of went the direction I was going to go with it. And you look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers, where historically, I mean, he's not scared to throw somebody under the bus, or at least maybe throw like a subliminal message out to let you know how he's feeling. So I think it does show something for Aaron Rodgers to have picked the Jets while he was the coach. I think he would have looked at that spot when he chose the Jets. But also, if he does become an issue, that Robert Saleh, I think Aaron Rodgers will be one of the first people to kind of throw him under the bus, and that will put him on the hot seat. So I think we'll hear Rodgers hint at it very quickly if it is the coach's fault.
Did he pull himself or did he get pulled?
He got pulled because of the score.
Yeah,
Okay.
He probably pulled himself.
That's what I think too.
Because Brees Hall was still in the game. So he probably
I
pulled
think
Garrett,
yeah,
Garrett Wilson was in too. That's fair.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson's playing football in a nightgown. See his jersey? He's got long sleeves like a triple X.
Yeah.
The old Peyton Manning jersey.
Hit his line for me, so whatever you were. So fair next week.
We're going to recap the game a little bit further when we get back from the break. We are on until 7 tonight, so
You are
we'll
welcome, Albuquerque.
So we'll hit all the best ones and fun ones. Also, Josh Sushan will join us at 6 o'clock as we're going to tell you where Isotopes baseball is. It's the last homestand of the season for the Isotopes, so we'll be out there on Friday. That's going to be awesome for us. They're over on Rock tonight. Is that correct, Isaiah?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can check them out, obviously, and then the coaches show will be immediately following us. But everyone should be tuned into Eric Strauss as he is going to live react to the debate.
That's going to be a fun one.
I love that.
That's going to be a fun one.
If you are into strictly entertainment, like give Eric a shot tonight during
Yeah,
the
he's
debate.
very entertaining. He's very, very entertaining.
He is a passionate.
Yes. He's
So-
going to have some things to say tonight.
It is a
He's got a cult. He has a cult. He's a real cult here in Albuquerque.
when you say cult, you mean culture around him of supportive fans? Because yes, yeah, we would never ever say anything negative about Mr.
Well, yeah,
Strauss.
in the most positive way. Yeah, like
We're
call in, say 2 words and he finish it off.
We're at
Wow.
Duke. We're at Duke City Cages. We'll be here all night. You can hear the bats in the background. You know it will pack out with kids right after the 5 o'clock hour. So we're excited for that. Whenever we get back from the break, we continue Monday Night Recap. We're talking waiver wire. We're talking guys to look for in the world of fantasy. The Gay Boys are here. It's going to be a good program. It's 2 Men On 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. We're going to have a banger of one today. The Gay Boys are with us. Jared, put that headset on. We're back live.
You can't hear them in the background. They're arguing about fantasy before we even get on air.
We're
not even on air
yet. Heck of a night last night at Howie Sports Page. Thank you to all the friends of the show that came out. I didn't get to watch the game to the extent I normally watch the game because there were so many friends of the show saying hi and hello and welcome to historic Howie Sports Page to me over and over again. I somehow lost my shirt during the raffle. It was a weird night.
It's always a blast at Howie Sports Page. If you've never been to Monday Night Football at Howie's, if you never raged at the page with the boys, you are missing out, friend.
Well, yes. Yes, I agree.
Also, don't be scared to Uber there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and now
play it safe, baby.
Yeah, and Simon Gay, Jared Gay with us on the program. We're talking the world of fantasy all day. And now that I am diabetic positive, I'm currently becoming a diabetes survivor.
That's a Brimley.
That's my new thing.
Yeah.
Did you know that 6 to 8 vodka sodas hits different than 6 to 8 beers?
Yes, it does.
Did you know that?
I bet you really had to Uber home.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Howie's.
How'd it taste?
So good in my mouth.
Correct answer.
Yeah,
the first one's fantastic. Let's not belittle the first one. The second one,
even better.
Pretty damn good. Pretty damn. Third one, oh baby, we're rounding the corner. 4 through 6, yeek. The weird part about Howie Sports Page is when you keep betting friends of the show to do shots of hot sauce and you'll buy them a drink. Like, how much hot sauce can one place have? How much hot sauce can one place? A lot. The answer's a lot. They got a lot.
It is a lot. All right, boys, we're talking the game last night. Like I said, I wasn't able to watch it linked. I don't understand why Greg Zerline's afraid to kick it. Walk me through the fantasy standouts last night. What did you see? What didn't you see? Was it a Monday Night Football game that you expected?
Disappointed from the Jets, as we said earlier. I thought the 49ers played really well. It wasn't all that exciting. It was actually frustrating for the most part because you knew that Jordan Mason was going to get the ball. And anyone who had McCaffrey, I mean, my gosh, to know he was actually deemed out Friday and they just didn't report it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to get in trouble for that. They absolutely have to. So Mason was awesome. Debo got a lot of work. I'm a little disappointed with George Kittle's involvement. I think Juwan Jennings had more targets than Kittle did. And that's with Ayuk barely doing anything. I mean, Ayuk looked rusty. The dude dropped at least 3 balls, dropped a touchdown. I mean, I'm a little spiteful because I lose a fantasy matchup because he didn't catch that touchdown. So, he didn't look great. Of course, Brock Purdy before the game said, oh, no, it's just like having him here always. It was no different, even though he was holding out. But you got anything else for the Niners? I mean, I thought Purdy looked fine. The Jets defense wasn't good. You want to go into Jets a little bit?
I mean, Ayuk got roasted on air by Peyton Manning. I don't know if you guys saw this.
So that's our soundbite today.
Took him to the house.
Isaiah, can you pull up that soundbite? So I sent that over before the show. That's our Isham Dental soundbite of the game. Is Peyton Manning, I don't want to call it overreacting, but reacting.
Yeah.
And he historically is very publicly hated wide receivers who drop the ball.
Yeah.
So here is Peyton Manning last night on the Manning Cast in reaction to Brandon Ayuk and our Isham Dental soundbite of the day.
Take it, man to man, Jennings. Oh, Ayuk, he's a little rusty, Pate. He's missed all training camp. Get signed, get in training camp. There's a reason for training camp. You need it. We need the reps.
Oh.
Get those contracts done earlier so we can get in training camp. We don't drop balls on opening night.
Right. It's probably one thing catching passes, running routes. All of a sudden you're laying out for a pass, full speed, diving. That's why, those happen in camp. You make those, you practice those. That's just a little rusty right there.
You're still catching balls in a high school field from some quarterback that's 45 years old, my age. You're not catching balls from your quarterback. Get signed, get in camp, and we don't drop the ball.
The Isham Dental soundbite of the day, Isham Dental at abq.com, 505-881-0422. Go see Scott at 3900 Eubank Boulevard Northeast, and he'll put the fingers that have been in my mouth in your mouth, Medicare A and B. He works specifically on them dentures, implants, and everything to make you look as handsome as I. There you go.
Peyton needs to be a coach. Peyton needs to be a coach ASAP, and
there's no money in that.
He's one of those guys, though, where maybe a personal coach. I bet he could make a fortune if he had like a special Peyton Manning camp. But he has this way of delivering his opinion, and you can tell that he's always like 2 notches away from going psycho if he has to tell you something more than twice. He's very passionate, and it shows. The stories of him like cussing out his O-line, or the fact that he basically ran practice, like you can really see it. And he gets angry at these players. He's not even on the team. Like Ayuk wasn't a former teammate, but he gets irritated with seeing the little things not be respected in football, and he needs to use that somehow other than the man.
That producer had to pan him down a little bit because he came in spicy. He used his big boy voice when he's talking about Brandon Ayuk too.
Yeah,
look, he works with Bill Belichick for one day, and he turns into a crotchety old man. One day on the job with Bill Belichick, you see how that rubs off on him.
Yeah, Bill did awesome, except for them. They kept talking over each other. I'm like, yeah, it's not so easy talking on the panel now, is it, Bill?
Right. So I didn't know this. I'm pulling it up right here. Omaha Productions has a 9-year deal with ESPN. So I can safely say to you, you'll never see Peyton Manning coach.
Yeah.
Like this is why, and this is like Omaha Productions is kind of the way that Worldwide Pants was set up, to where all of these people work for him.
Sure.
It's the way Pat McAfee did it. It's the way we do it with some stuff here. Like it is, that is the way where there are too many people reliant on Peyton Manning and his brother on those casts, and he's paying a lot of people's paychecks right now. So no to coaching for Peyton Manning. No to coaching.
And also, this is like the most entry-level basic advice there is. Surprise, surprise, practicing makes you better. You don't say, Peyton. Oh, you play the way you practice? Oh, you don't say, Peyton.
Yeah, and even CD, like it's slept on because he had a decent game and the Cowboys dominated. But after his first couple catches, there was about 3 balls where he would have caught if he had been in camp. And like I know that as a Cowboy fan, he left a lot of yards on the table. So it tracks.
Whenever we get back from the break, we can continue down the world of fantasy. And as Simon said in the opening segment, you said it's the worst week of fantasy passing ever. Is that what you said? Yeah. Close enough. We'll tell you more whenever we get back. It's 2 Men On, live from Duke City Cages on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Two Men On. We're live at Duke City Cages. Simon and Jared Gay are with us. We're talking the world of fantasy, reaction to the weekend, what you should do this week. Simon and Jared both mentioned in the opening that did you say officially, or if you didn't, you said this was at or near one of the worst weeks for fantasy passing ever.
Pretty sure it officially was the lowest ever.
Isn't that
Or
crazy?
The lowest in the last 10 years, which is what really matters.
Yeah. No, it's passing and rushing. Touchdowns across the board, right?
But I think passing specifically.
Okay. So passing, they've been seen somewhere between mid 50s to low 60s, like literally every year for the past decade. There was 33, 34, 31 before. I think that was before yesterday. I don't know. Were there any last night?
That was before.
I don't know if there were any passes.
Yeah,
there were two.
Alan Lazard.
Okay.
He caught 2, and Van said last night, or maybe he only caught 1. He caught 2.
He got Tyrod threw 1.
Yeah. So Van said to me last night that he was, really like pondering his existence and didn't know if he had any value in the world of understanding fantasy sports or as a person. That part I thought was more accurate.
Oh, wild! The guy who went 3-0 week 1,
all right,
bonkers.
All right. First of all, 2 of those teams are ours, so that. But no, it's it was a thing where like you shouldn't be freaking out, or you should be freaking out if your team scored in the 80s and lost by 0.2.
Don't freak out. Do not freak out. It happens every year. Guys blow up. Guys do poorly. I mean, I wish I looked up a little bit more about guys who did poorly week 1, but Chase wasn't at camp. Dude, he didn't even practice this week.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about all these top guys. You just got to be patient. Week 3 or 4 is where you can start. You're 0-3. You have Chase. He hasn't done anything. Then that's a different conversation. But right now you got to just stay with it. Give it time. See what these teams are doing. Guys are still acclimating to the game. Starters don't play in the preseason.
Sure.
There were like 10 teams that had starters who didn't even touch the field. I mean, Josh Allen saw a couple snaps, but you're talking a lot of guys who didn't play at all. So you got to be patient with this.
Yeah, don't freak out over week 1. I'm going to freak out over Luke Musgraves, the Green Bay tight end, who was only on the field like for 15 plays. He's gone. You're off my team, loser. But besides that, I'm not freaking out on anyone.
Right.
I mean, you should be concerned about your guy Olave because the Saints scored 45 points and he got none of it.
Nothing. I mean, 2 targets, right, Simon?
Yeah.
2 targets.
Simon, how does Joe Burrow only even look at Jamar Chase 6 times? Like, how does that happen over a course of a game you're trying to win against the New England Patriots?
I didn't watch that game, but both the running backs did well, so I'm guessing that was the focus. But I don't know what Jamar Chase's snap count was either. That'll be something that I'll check right now.
If you're trying to go away from Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase in a scheme, change your head coach.
With no T. Higgins on the field, you close your eyes and you chuck it up to Jamar Chase 20 times.
Yeah, he should
regardless if he's double covered.
Targets with the 84% snap percentage. So I don't know. It's exactly what we're saying. You can't overreact to week 1. You just got to let it go and hope it's better next week.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, 3 catches.
No, 1. Didn't he have 1 catch for 3 targets?
3 catches.
3 catches for 13 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not good.
That's booty. That's
bad.
as bad of a. You know who else could have done that?
Me.
Jared Gay.
I'll tell you, Simon
Gay.
definitely could. You're talking to the D1 guy over here, so he definitely could have. Like I said, you can't panic. That's like a scheme thing. This is a reason Jameson Williams went for 120 and a touchdown. They took Sean McVay's a good coach. You take away the studs. If you get beat by the 3rd or 4th option because Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra do nothing, I mean, it's kind of a win defensively.
Jameson looked fantastic.
He did.
He's like a freak athlete.
He's
in college.
He's a kid out there too.
Oh,
his
dude,
interview afterwards.
It's adorable. He is like devoid of thought.
I would prefer.
He's like a you dropped a beer and like a puppy like drank some of your beer puddle. Like he is he is not well upstairs.
I would 100% prefer if I'm the Lions to not let the world know that that's how his brain works.
Yeah.
Like I would try to hide
that guy.
Yes.
Keep him away from the camera.
Yeah, I'd call him a real weight room guy. Oh yeah, sorry, Miss Media. He's like a trainer.
He's like
with the trainer.
Dumb Jameis Winston at the wide receiver position. Just says crazy stuff. Doesn't know what to hold in his head.
The underperformance of all these guys we named or the overperformance of Derek Carr? Which one's realer?
Panthers defense. That's
realer?
super real.
Can we go that way instead?
Yeah.
The Panthers defense. Panthers suck. They are hands down the worst team in the NFL. They will go 2-15. maybe. I believe they're not favored in
Better
any game
watch out
this
for
year.
the New York Giants.
That's fair. Hopefully they play the Giants. That would be one heck of a
Dude,
game.
it's the Germany game.
Oh, they do play
Yeah.
each other.
You didn't see the joke?
No, I did.
It
Yeah,
said
yeah.
it's the U.S.'s last punishment to Germany for losing World War II.
Yeah.
Oh.
The Giants versus the Panthers.
That's awful.
It's the last line of the Geneva Convention. And like in 60 years, you're gonna have to deal with this.
Well, but you did hear the special rules for the game. No blitzes.
Mhm. Okay.
Love it. It's a deep cut
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
So I will address what you said. What's realer, those guys' poor performance or Derek Carr's good performance? Derek Carr's good performance against bad teams.
Oh,
He
sure.
can light it up.
Yeah.
Okay, the
Kirk
studs.
Cousins and eyeliner.
That's what I'm saying. So I think Carr will be good against bad teams, but don't overreact. If you have him and somebody wants him, trade him. Get rid of him.
The world of fantasy had 3 of the top 20 players be kickers and 4 of the top 21 players be kickers. If you don't put any weight in that in your fantasy league, you're going to lose games.
That's
like
just because Justin Fields sucks.
Also, if you have kickers and defenses in your league, congratulations on your first year in fantasy.
Here's what I'm saying. I win games. I don't care where the points come from.
Uh-huh.
I'm telling you right now, in the world of fantasy football, if you're having an option or an opportunity to look at a team and go, yeah, they really stall out before the 20,
Mhm.
like that, get that kicker, find that kicker, put money into it, because these dudes don't miss anymore. It's not 10 years ago.
So who's on your team, Jake Moody or Boswell? Because you had to have one of them to have this crazy viewpoint.
He had Moody in his flex.
It came down between him and Deuce Vaughn. So I was really on the fence about it, but ended up working out for me. I'll pull up who I had right here.
How about my boy CD getting the rushing yards? I told you.
I saw one handoff. I'm like, I'm going to hear about this.
He had 2 of them actually. He was the leading rusher for majority of the game. He might have finished as such.
Zeke looked pretty good. Not gonna lie, Zeke looked
He
pretty
did.
good.
How about how Zeke looked? And of course, the first play of the game, he hurdles a guy and we get a penalty.
I know. I was
Stories.
watting that. I loved it. Loved it.
Or the
Stories
fact that
Zeke's
Rico
lives.
Dowdle didn't do anything.
That's cool that he got his highlight for the year out of the way on the first play.
Yeah, he can go back to eating his bowls of cereal for dinner.
Yes.
And Rico Dowdle just kept smacking in the back of his offensive lineman.
Yeah, he's like Le'Veon Bell if he closed his eyes.
It's a mega young line there that Vegas wasn't super worried about. What was it? Was it 3? Is that what it was at Cleveland?
2.5.
2.5?
Yeah.
And you kind of look at a line, is it 3 rookies or 2 rookies and a first-year guy? Like, it's a mega young line. And normally Vegas is real apprehensive about that and the way that Cleveland was touted. So there might be something, I don't know, relevant or important or special there for the Dallas Cowboys in the offensive line, because Cleveland didn't do that thing against them. And I say this every time. Hey, cool, you can have numbers from last year, but it's the flow of the game. Like, if you're chasing points and you're going to be dissected, you're going to be
It started
dissected.
off shaky. The very first time Guyton, the left tackle, and I made that point that he was going to go against Myles Garrett. The very first play, he did get dropped down to his knees. Okay, the power, you can tell it surprised him. But then right after that, they sent Zeke at him a couple times, and then he started to come into his own. So I think by him going against Micah in practice and then Myles Garrett the first game of the year, I mean, it can't get much harder for him.
But yep. The 19th worst week of fantasy passing points by QBs since realignment in 2002. And that's out of 378 total weeks. So that puts you in like the 5th percentile of really bad QB performances. It was also the 6th worst week since 2010. So that's out of 225 weeks. And the 3rd percentile, which was the first year the league eclipsed 12,000 total passing yards. So, it will get better from here, Gardner Minshew fans. It will get better.
I don't think there will be a week throughout the whole rest of the season where 19 quarterbacks throw under 200 yards. That stat sheet is bonkers.
Give me
Seeing modern NFL quarterbacks throwing for under 200
Do you have
yards.
the list in front of you?
I do not. But I can get it.
If we had that list, I'd love to see the names of the guys. Like where it's.
Did anybody see Will Levis' reaction after he threw that interception?
Oh God! I was
Hands on his knees.
hands on his head, on his
sorry.
knees. It's just
I
I'm
was
dying.
so
Doing like a
embarrassed for him.
Tyreek? Like, what do you mean?
Like, so he was
nice.
He threw the ball like he was getting sacked and just chucked it right to the defender. And he looks up and he has his hands on his head like, oh my gosh, what did I just do?
as the defender is running by him.
30 and a half passing attempts per team. That's the 3rd lowest since 2010. 203 pass yards per team, the lowest since 2010. 6.5 yards per attempt. That's the 16th lowest since 2010. and 1.9 passing touchdowns per team. That is the 8th lowest since 2010. This will not happen again.
It is going to get better.
When I was watching over the weekend, I'm a red zone guy. I don't watch a single game. I don't care enough to watch a single game. But as I'm watching them all, I'm like, oh, this is a really good weekend of football. Like, these games are all tight, and they only show you highlight. It's all the live action in the red zone. And I'm like, okay, this is a banger weekend. Maybe one of the best opening weekends ever. And then the numbers are like, Fred, you worked yourself into a shoot. Like, this is actually not the business. This is not what the league is curtailed to. Do you guys think rule changes have anything to do with that? Is there something we're not seeing, at least in the public eye?
These guys aren't getting reps in the preseason.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
But that's kind of been the case for a while. So, I mean,
I don't think it had anything to do with. I think it was just a fluke. I mean, you can't point it at one thing besides the fact that every team's getting called for legal formation.
Yeah,
that was
because offensive tackles can't do what they're supposed to.
I mean,
yeah, I'd like to see what the numbers would have looked like if there weren't any illegal formation penalties.
Well, I think it was like almost 30 of them called. Obviously, a point of emphasis after last year with Juwan Taylor doing it opening night against the Lions. It was like such a joke. He'd leave early. He's not lined up. He's basically in the backfield. So I don't think there's any rule changes. I mean, the kickoff was supposed to add touchdowns.
Yeah.
And, there was one. Last year there was 4 in the entire season. So that's really great. It happened against the Bills. But no, I mean, there weren't a lot of rule changes. There's the hip drop tackle, but
they didn't even call that. There was I saw 4 of them, and they didn't call any of them.
Yeah, I mean,
one of them was gross.
It happened to Jennings last night.
I think it might have been that one.
Dropped on him and rolled up his ankle. So, I mean, so it'll be interesting to see when they actually call that.
Well, and all these fun numbers that we just gave you, like, use these at parties. Like, it will get you girls. Like, this is the stuff you need to know and communicate with strangers. So now you know just how awful week 1 was in the world of fantasy. And we'll give you our first hour must edition. This is who you need to look at on the waiver wire whenever we get back. It's 2 Men On live from Duke City Cages right here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
to death. Hot to death. You can see me flex. Now I'm no stranger. I make it hot to death. Hot to death.
Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Two Men On. Of course, we are at Duke City Cages, having a heck of a day today. We'll have some representatives from Duke City Cages joining us in the next hour, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Talk about everything going on in the world of youth baseball. Some surprise fantasy performances over the weekend. We're looking at guys that are rostered in about half of fantasy football leagues, and Dobbins is the big one, right? So he goes for 25-ish points depending on your scoring, and he's rostered in about 50% of the leagues. What do you boys think? He's number one on the waiver wire for most?
Yeah, I think he'd be number one running back up there with Jordan Mason. I mean, Dobbins has more of a guarantee for the rest of the season because Mason has McCaffrey above him, but I think Dobbins is going to beat out Gus Edwards, so I think it's his job.
Madison went for right around 17, depending on your scoring. He's only rostered in like 5% of leagues. Is there any trust for the Raiders running back?
Definitely not a priority ad for me. I still think they prefer Zamir White, but you're going to see a hot hand approach with Alexander Madison and White. It's whoever, like Madison had the big play. They gave him the ball a few more times. If I had to bet, I'm still going to go with Zamir White in that backfield. So not a priority, but I'm okay taking a shot on him.
Jamal Williams also around 15 points. He's the running back for the Saints that no one knew about. Is he a guy you're targeting right now? Can he produce moving forward?
That would not be a guy I'd be adding. I mean, he's got Kamara in front of him. They're not going to beat every team by 37. I mean, not every team's as bad as the Panthers. That's just a guy if he's there, you can take him, but he's not a guy I'm prioritizing over those other guys we mentioned.
I mean, he led the league in touchdowns 2 years ago. He's a pretty good touchdown vulture.
Yeah, you see him last year?
If you're struggling for somebody.
He
Yeah.
was sitting at home last year, pretty much.
Sure.
That was with the
Playing
Lions. That was
Pokemon.
with the Lions, though.
Yeah, 2 years ago with the Lions.
In the David Montgomery role we're seeing. And Montgomery's
Exactly.
a younger, faster Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Van, you've been high on this guy all preseason, and he showed out Zach Charbonnet for the Seahawks. Do you have any interest, boys, in a guy who's only rostered in about 48% of leagues who went for 14, depending on your scoring over the weekend?
Not a huge Charbonnet fan. He's an insurance running back. I mean, 10 touches is fine. He's always been inefficient on the ground. You're banking on a touchdown. He's okay. The perk is if Ken Walker gets hurt, which he will, he'll miss a few games.
He's hurt right now.
Yeah, so he's hurt right now. So Sharp's worth a look. Keep an eye on the Ken Walker status if you're going for Charbonnet.
DJ Dallas, the spelling, not the initials, went for 12 over the weekend. Basically, no one has him. Is he a guy you're picking up for the Cardinals?
He should not be on a single team. The only reason he has points is because he returned a kickoff for a touchdown. He looks like Eddie Lacy at the end of his career.
Yo.
He is not fast. I would not pick him up.
That's not a good. Yeah.
My brother said, "Why does it look like he slammed a 12-pack and a pizza last night?" He is a thick boy, and he's like,
Yeah, no, sorry, you going, Jared?
"No, go ahead."
I was say before you go on the list, I want to just toss a name up. How long until you start putting stock in Bucky Irving, my Oregon guy?
He'll probably come up. He's probably going to come up later, but he looks good, man.
I mean, we're not just Irving was actually a guy Simon and I both like. We were going to bring up regardless if Fred got to it.
Nice.
9 carries for 62 yards. I believe Rachaad White had 15 rush yards. So Bucky Irving's explosive. That's someone I really, really like. He's right around. He's not to put him. He's right below Dobbins in terms of like upside. Mason's a handcuff, but Dobbins. I mean, Bucky Irving. If he gets the ball 10 to 15 times, he's explosive. And White has never been an efficient runner. He's a pass catcher.
Sure.
And he has the trust. He doesn't fumble. So I do really like Bucky Irving as a pickup. He's probably second or third on our list.
Super fun in the stat book was Justice Hill over the weekend, who caught passes for a Ravens offense that likes to run it. He had right around 12, depending upon your scoring. Basically, no one has him either. Is he a guy you're playing in a league that carries maybe a flex running back position?
I think the only league you would use him in is a full PPR league. They're not always going to be losing to teams like the Chiefs, and I think Derrick Henry will get used more. He only had like 16 carries. 10 carries?
10 for 46.
10 carries. So
or 13.
He's there. He's worth the ad if you don't have anyone else on your bench, but I would not drop a good player for him. I mean, Henry's gonna get the touchdowns every time.
You mentioned Bucky Irving, and the only other guy on the list that I saw that went over 10 points over the weekend. You guys will have to explain to me who he is. Who's Raheem Blackshear?
Okay.
I've never heard of this cat in my life.
He's also only on there because of special teams. He had I think he had like 200 special teams yards.
That's pretty good.
I don't think he scored.
So I have 0 points for Raheem Blackshear.
It depends on if you have points for return yards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
If you had points for return points, I think Kavontae Turpin has got to be somebody that gets looked at because their defense forces a lot of punts. He catches a lot of punts, and they also take a lot of chances, so they may give up a lot of points as well as far as touchdowns.
204 yards in return.
He also returned 8 kicks. That's not going to happen. I mean, unless the Panthers allow that many kicks. But no, Zay, you're totally right. If you have leagues that give you value for kick return yards, I don't think I'm in any. But yeah, no, it's worth a shot having a team that has a good defense where the returner is going to see 6, 7, 8 opportunities.
Of those running backs we just went through, who is the must on the waiver wire?
I think it's J.K. Dobbins 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, he's available half the league, so there's a chance you can get him. If you can't get him, I go after Bucky Irving.
So if you're looking for a starter, I think Dobbins is right there. If you're playing the long game, I won't agree. I do agree with Simon, but I think Jordan Mason's the other one. You're talking McCaffrey. We're talking Achilles tendonitis.
Yeah.
He could miss 4 to 5 games over the course of the season. Mason is obviously a stud. He did it against the great Jets defense.
He's also destined to miss games because every time that I take a running back at first overall pick, he always misses games every year.
Don't sleep on Jaleel McLaughlin either. The Broncos are going to suck, but at least he's going to be RB1 for a crappy team.
Now you know. Whenever we get back from the break, we continue our fantasy talk. I think what I want to open with, boys, and you tell me if this is just a crazy train of thought, you might actually be better off for the season if you lost in week 1. And we'll talk about that, waiver wires, opportunities, and more. It's 2 Men On live from Duke City Cages, 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Channel. Welcome back to the program. 2 Men On is at Duke City Cages. I'm Fred Slow, Van Nunley with me, Isaiah Johnson back at the studio. And the Gay Boys are here, Simon and Jared Gay. Simon, Jared, welcome.
Thank you.
Lots going on in the world of social media, content, questions, and otherwise. Always just put your question out there. You don't have to ask us. 505-246-0610, text the program. You ask us, we got you. Waiver wire questions all day. Speaking of the waiver wire, it is a little different in week 1, right?
Yeah. So Simon, reminded me in the break that the guys who do well in week 1 will outscore. This is the best week to pick people up. There's a really good chance granted Dobbins runs like he's just all injured all the time.
Sure.
But he could be really good. He has the ability to break off long runs. So you're going to see guys who go off in week 1 who are there all year long, as opposed to week 8 when you see a guy go off for the 3rd time in 8 games. You can't trust him. You don't know. Last year, Puka Nacua was the biggest waiver pickup in week 1. He ended up being, I think, the wide receiver 3 or 4. Granted, it was without Cooper Kupp, but you're going to have guys like this. There's going to be 1 or 2 guys this year who just had great games who take off. Maybe it's Bucky Irving. Maybe it's Tank Bigsby. Maybe it's J.K. Dobbins.
And depending on your league, like week 1 in draft is reverse draft order. And then I don't know if your league has rotating waivers or it's by performance, points scored the previous week, or if it's by win-loss record. And then if you make a transaction, you go around to the top and rotate.
Yeah. So if you're number
but
1,
you should know what your waiver wire preferences are in your league and act accordingly.
Absolutely. And would you consider this a week, Simon, to say you're number one waiver priority out of all the teams you get, whoever you want? You blown it this week?
Oh yeah, with Dobbins and Mason there. If you need a running back for sure. I mean, if you're stacked at running back, I guess you could pass and wait for a receiver to blow up. But I mean, don't spend your number 1 waiver claim on like Tyler Johnson, who we'll mention later. But he's not worth the number 1 claim. He's not going to. He has a chance to be good, but he's not going to blow up.
And a lot of these leagues don't even. You're not going to be with people who pay that close attention. There's a 90% chance you just grab it. You can pretty much get whoever you want. You're going to drop back down to number 10, and you'll climb your way back up. So it all depends on your league. If you're with 9 guys or ladies who are just super competitive and they're, listening to this show because they take it seriously, and that then you need to use it or save it.
If Isaiah Likely is out there on the waiver wires, do you prioritize him over Dobbins or a running back lottery ticket? Because it looks like he's going to be a big part of the Ravens' game plan, no matter if Mark Andrews is healthy or not.
I think that has a lot to do with who your tight end is. I mean, if you have Kelsey or Laporta, I wouldn't even bother. But you don't really know what the Ravens are going to do. They have 2 running backs, they have 2 tight ends, and they have like 2 receivers. So you don't really know where the ball's going to go. It's hard to guess.
So I think Simon hit it. It depends who you have. There were, when we were talking drafts a couple weeks ago, top 7 or 8 tight ends. If you grab this 8th, 7th guy who's Kyle Pitts or George Kittle, do not do it. Hang on to those guys. Mm-hmm. But if you have the 9 or 10, David Njoku who's hurt, Jake Ferguson who's hurt, maybe you have Dallas Goedert who underperformed. I mean, the tight end wasteland this week. I don't know if 5 guys scored over 7 or 8 points. So be patient. But if you just don't like who you have, that's the biggest thing. You got to be confident in your team. If you think Likely is going to be better than Kittle, then you make that decision. We're just here to tell you it's probably not the best.
Well,
the
kid
send me a trade request for Kittle first. Let's talk turkey for a second before you give up on him.
Well, and Connie Moreau's brother down there in New Orleans, like he wasn't half bad over and you kind of raise one eyebrow, right? And you're like, is this a guy who's going to regularly contribute to a David Carr offense? If he's afraid to go super down the field against better teams, might be a guy who contributes.
I mean, Moreau was with him in Las Vegas and Oakland. I do like him. But he did just get a concussion, so just keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
But I do like him. Taysom Hill was not involved in the passing game. That is mostly because they were winning by so much. But you're kind of taking your choice. There's a good chance one of those 3 tight ends are going to score. You're kind of just playing roulette with those guys.
I don't like the idea of having a position on your fantasy team that doesn't produce points. If you are sitting at a deficit position like tight end right now, do you package together, maybe if you feel like you have need at the running back or wide receiver position, to bring in a guy that might not score as much as those guys, but it's not like you put in a 0 out there?
I think that depends a lot on how much depth you have. I mean, you're not going to trade away a stud wide receiver to get like a middle of the ground tight end. If you're going to go for one of the big guys, yeah, sure.
I mean, you mentioned a good problem that you had. You're stocked on running backs.
Yeah.
And you have Brian Robinson Jr. on the bench.
He can't get him in the lineup.
Hey, that'd be a good trade target right there because he should be starting on fantasy teams.
I mean, you send him to the guy who has Kittle.
Yeah.
You taking that? You want Kittle on your team?
I mean, I'm a Travis Kelce guy all day.
Oh, okay. I was hoping you have a bad tight end.
No, I take him early.
Yeah. So if you have the depth, you can cash in on it where your needs are, or just wait. There's nothing wrong with having studs on your bench who are going to keep doing well, and then everyone else is suffering. Like you said, Fred, you won. Just keep winning. Somebody will come to you and asking for the bench depth that you have.
We're talking about guys who performed big over the weekend that might be available in your fantasy league. We're talking about the Monday night hero, Alan Lazard. In the world of fantasy only, not on the field. Actually, that team was garbage. Do you trust the Jets wide receiver as he had just right under 30 points in most leagues, and he's on basically 0 rosters?
I mean, he's probably worth adding because he's with Rodgers, but you also have to realize that Mike Williams is on that team, and he didn't catch a pass. He didn't even get targeted because he tore his ACL last year. I'm not sure why he didn't get targeted, but he's going to be more involved as they go down the road.
Yeah, I don't mind adding Alan Lazard anyway or either because there's not a whole lot of wide receivers out there.
Yeah.
Outside. I mean, really, he's probably the most available guy across the board. He had 9 targets. Some of it was in garbage time with Tyrod Taylor, but he's got a rep with Aaron Rodgers. The Jets will be better. They have to be better. And if it's not, then Aaron Rodgers will just tear that team down.
Well, whoever is going to be WR2 on the Jets, whether it's Williams or Lazard or some other name on their roster, he should be on a fantasy team. He might not be your starter. He might not be your flex guy. But whoever WR2 is on the Jets should be on your roster.
Yeah, I mean, if you need a guy next week, Lazard wouldn't be bad. But if you're playing the long game, which you should be, like Simon said, I like Mike Williams. They paid $15 million on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
They're going to have to use it.
Sure.
Alec Pierce of the Colts, I think, has a best friend, and I believe his best friend is Anthony Richardson. And I think he is the truth. He's not available, he's not rostered anywhere. Went for over 23 over the weekend. I think he's the biggest truth of all these guys. Do you think Pierce is going to be a contributor all season long? And where would you rank him on your waiver wire?
So I'm always cool taking a shot on somebody who can catch the deep ball. But I think you just saw him and Dublin both catch long balls.
Yeah.
The odds of you having 2 of those a game, let alone 1, is going to be tough. So I don't put a lot of stock into his performance. He's going to maybe if he connects on 1 deep ball a week, you don't know who it's even going to be.
He's also the king of running fade routes. Alec Pierce only runs straight. And, I mean, Anthony Richardson can throw the ball a mile. So there's a chance.
I think Adonai Mitchell will end up getting those.
Mitchell was the other guy I was going to say. Him, Dublin, and Pierce.
I think Mitchell will end up getting that number of targets that Pierce got this time.
Yeah. Pierce just runs sprints out there, man. He's just running down the field.
Yeah.
Probably not specific. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say he's just there for cardio.
Not so bad. Probably not specific to this listening audience because of their weird fandom, but Brandon Cooks is available in like 65% of leagues. Like he's a guy that has not been on a lot of squads. Here he will be because it's Dallas territory. He had points over the weekend. Is he a guy you can trust as he went over 14 against Cleveland?
I actually liked him from the start, even before he played this game this week. But, I mean, he was so good on the Saints he was good on the Rams too.
And Patriots.
And the Patriots. Yeah, I mean, I would pick him up. 65. He's available in 65%?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would add him.
Yeah, that's bonkers that he's available in that many leagues right now. Same answer for whoever Aaron Rodgers' WR2 is. Whoever Dak Prescott's WR2 is should be on your roster.
Yeah, no Michael Gallup. Jake Ferguson's hurt. I mean,
Yeah.
who am I forgetting somebody? Who else?
Zeke's not catching
Zeke's
passes.
not good. I mean, maybe they give Deuce Vaughn some action in the wide receiver.
Yeah, there you go. Say.
I wonder if they start Deuce Vaughn at tight end.
I'll joke Deuce Vaughn at tight end. I'll joke aside. Zeke, he'll get a couple catches, I'm sure. But back to Turpin. I mean, he just can't. He's not a very good catcher. He's not a very good catcher, but for some reason, Dak likes throwing to him, and I don't know why. So, I mean, keep him on the lookout, but I would expect Brandon Cooks to, of course. I think him and Dak, with CD being out the whole offseason or being gone, I think Dak and Brandon Cooks got some extra reps in.
Ashton Dulin had 1 big play over the weekend. I don't believe at all that's enough to put he on any sort of squad. So moving past him, I don't trust the Rams. I didn't really know who Tyler Johnson was He did score some points. He caught 5 balls. Is he a guy who's going to be a factor in this Rams offense?
So Simon and I were discussing this. It's him or Demarcus Robinson. I think you need to call your shot on one of them.
7 targets.
Yeah, Puka's going to be out 4 to 6. And Cup's going to get 50. He's not going to get 21 targets. He'll probably be in the 12 to 15 range a week. But there's definitely room for Johnson or Robinson. Johnson, not a high draft capital guy. He's a 7th-round pick out of Minnesota a few years ago. So I like him. He's definitely got the ability to break a long one, and he's got more upside than Demarcus Robinson.
Yeah, Puka's super 4 to 6. Both Tyler Johnson and Demarcus Robinson are going to get receptions. Cooper Kupp can't have 21 targets. I guess he can have 21 targets every week, but he's probably not going to. So I think Tyler Johnson had 63 yards on 1 catch. So you could say it's that, but I think they're both worth ads. You're not going to get both of them. Someone's going to want one of them. So if you put a claim in for both or add them both after waivers go through.
Well, there's a problem here, boys. All of my teams are so well drafted that I don't have anybody I can get rid of.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
I'm sure you have a team with three quarterbacks, 2 kickers.
Well, it's a 2-quarterback league.
Oh, so
I'm not in a single league with a kicker. It's been a decade since I've had a kicker or a defense in my league.
8 balls were thrown at Devon Veely. He caught 8 balls. I don't know if he's a dude who's going to score a ton, but he's going to have opportunity as he only went for like 40 yards. Is he a dude, if you have room, because maybe one of your guys went on the IR, is he a guy that you might consider in Denver?
I think he's worth the ad. Troy Franklin wasn't even active, and he was their 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick, something like that. So I think he's a good ad. There's nothing wrong with holding him. I wouldn't play him next week. I'd wait till he does it 2 or 3 times before you play him.
And he's really just if you're in a league that is 1 point per reception. If it's a half point per reception or 0, don't go for him. If he's catching 8 balls, any guy getting 8 targets is worth a look. They were behind. Nix was historically inefficient, which I'm super disappointed by.
Sure.
But I think he's a good player.
He's also a 26-year-old rookie, so he's got some experience.
Wan'Dale Robinson was targeted 12 times for the Giants. What?
I don't think that'll happen after this week. Daniel Jones is horrible. He shouldn't even be on the field. They paid him $100 million to be as bad as Johnny Manziel. So I don't think that's going to happen, especially with Malik Neighbors there.
I don't want a single Giant on my team, including Malik Neighbors.
Oh, you're crazy.
I love Malik Neighbors, man. He's so good.
There was a Jerry Jeudy sighting over the weekend for the Cleveland Browns. There's just no way, though, right?
He just got hurt, too. He got hurt in the game. Jerry Jeudy?
Don't touch him.
Yeah, he got hurt.
And if he's on your roster, drop him.
We should talk about that. We should also talk about some guys.
I wouldn't drop him.
You would drop Jerry Jeudy?
If he was decent, wasn't he?
He was
3 catches,
25 yards. He 25 yards and a touchdown on 8 targets.
If he was okay and Deshaun Watson is that bad, I think he may be worth keeping.
Cooper also had, I think, 1 catch.
Yeah.
But again, guys, I know we hate to give all fan base bias aside. It's a very good defense. Similar to San Fran, the Cowboys have a very good defense. I'd say let's see what Cleveland looks like this week. I forgot who they play. But I want to see what they look like this week and see if they look that trash again. I assume Watson will have more time to throw in the future.
Even if Watson's horrible, he's still going to throw for 150 yards. It's got to go to somebody.
Yeah.
Take the high ground and cut that criminal.
You
put Jameis Winston in there. Winston knows how to feed a wide receiver core. Winston knows how to feed a wide receiver core like Jameis Winston knows how to feed his college offensive line crab legs.
He's also the safest bet for first drive picks.
Yeah.
Give me your must-add wide receiver, boys, for this waiver wire.
I think the guy I'm going to be adding the most is Tyler Johnson. I'm just going to take a shot. Puka's out for 4 to 6. I think he's going to have more targets. He's young. He's fast. And Matthew Stafford already seems to trust him. He threw him the ball 6 times, 8 times, whatever it was. He's the one I'm adding for sure.
So as I'm looking, the Brandon Cooks thing, it just depends on what league you're in.
Sure.
I see, different ownerships ratings across all platforms. So I'm probably going Alan Lazard, to be honest. I want to see that. I want to see that for another week. If he goes out next week and has 3 catches for 20 yards, you can cut him. It's a fluke. But there's not a whole lot of upside out there this week. Maybe Greg Dortch for the Arizona Cardinals. He was really targeted, but that's because Marvin Harrison didn't do anything. 1 catch. So, yeah, tough week for receivers, but I think you got to go with one of the Rams. I think Tyler Johnson probably is the most upside.
Yeah, hard to it's number 1, but hard disagree. I think Demarcus Robinson has a higher ceiling. I think he's like pedigreed, like blue chip in college.
He's got the trust.
Like,
He's got the trust. He's been there.
I think Johnson has a trust already. I mean, week 1, you're getting that many targets.
No, you got to call your shot. Call your shot on one of them. If you are able to get both, do it. Just take who you like. You want the vet who's been there, or you want the younger guy who's probably got maybe a little bit more upside? I think Robinson's probably a little safer.
Wan'Dale Robinson, to me, the Giants are going to be chasing a ton.
When he's healthy, he's good.
He might even fall out of a waiver claim. Like if you want to keep your waiver claim in your pocket and it'll put you in the number 1 spot in week 2, maybe roll the dice on it. Maybe take a chance. If not, I mean, I don't know. I like wide receivers. Give me the kid in Indianapolis. Like just put one on the squad.
I would also say one of the most important things is seeing who people drop. There's a chance you get someone good after they're dropped. Because, I mean, it's going to go through Wednesday morning. I think every format does Wednesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So go out Wednesday morning and see who people dropped. You may find someone really good. I mean, there's a chance they drop someone after they overreact. Joe Burrow might get dropped.
Who knows?
Also, no one said this in like 30, 45 minutes. Don't overreact to week 1. If you got a guy that's like 70, 80, 90% owned, hang on to that guy. You don't have confidence in him, put him on the bench for a week or 2. Take a flyer with somebody else. Don't drop Joe Burrow because he sucked for 1 week.
But some people might.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to look for.
You're going to see guys. You could see someone not probably won't happen. You could see Ayuk get dropped. You could see that happen. You could see Olave. That probably won't happen, but the point is there. You could see Raheem Mostert easily could get dropped. It's just a fluky game. He's a little banged up. Just don't be that guy. Don't drop your top 6th or 7th round pick because he had 2 points, because maybe he wasn't in the preseason. Just give it some time.
If somebody offers you right now like a David Carr for Raheem Mostert, do you even consider it?
No, because David Carr's an announcer. Derek Carr.
They're all the same.
So are you getting Carr or getting Mostert?
You're getting the QB. You're getting.
I'm never trading for a quarterback.
Okay. Now you know.
Especially a bad one.
Speaking of quarterbacks, we touch on the ones from the weekend. It's 2 Men On, live from Duke City Cages on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal.
We're all moving a little faster now.
Trust the team.
here. Heck of a first weekend of football as far as entertainment level. Heck of a first weekend of football as far as poor performances from this position, the quarterback position. Only 2 real names jumped out to me, guys, as surprises. One is Baker Mayfield, who went for over 30 in most fantasy leagues. The other is Derek Carr, who went for over 23 in most fantasy leagues. Those guys are probably available in your league. Any of those guys worth an early grab on the waiver wire, boys?
Yeah, I mean, I would much rather have Baker Mayfield. I think he's more. I mean, I honestly think he's just good. I think he was in a bad situation, maybe a bad frame of mind. He's talked about how his mental health's better, and he's got a kid now, so he's just destined to be better at football.
Oh, okay.
I would grab Baker Mayfield. Derek Carr, probably not. Not every team is as bad as the Panthers, as I've said like 4 times. So I mean, I'd probably wait. No one's going to pick him up, and if they do, they're going to drop him in 2 weeks. So.
And keep an eye out. Like if you're worried about picking up a quarterback and you don't like Baker, I'm gonna bet money you're gonna see Goff, Dak, or Joe Burrow, Caleb Williams. They're gonna hit the waiver wire. They're gonna get dropped. I guarantee you're gonna have one of those guys get dropped in your league. I personally dropped Jared Goff because I have Dak, so I'm like I can only have to get rid of one of them. So just be patient. If you're like I want to see who goes down, I mean who knows? You could maybe Kyler gets dropped only at 17. Jaden Daniels should not get dropped, but yeah, there'll be a lot of guys out there.
The Lions have a dominant offense. The Lions have a dominant offensive line, and I feel like some games will be dominating and controlling the game, and they'll run the ball a lot more. I think they have better running backs than Dallas. So if I had to choose between Goff and Dak just off football analysis, I would anticipate Dak's going to have to do more than Goff may have to do. But as you said, he does have great stats in the dome.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's when you're just streaming. I'll probably pick Goff up again at some point.
Yeah.
No, I like Dak. It was just one of those games. He didn't have to do anything because he could have stopped scoring in the second quarter and they would have won.
If Baker's my backup, I'm stoked. If Goff is my backup, I'm stoked.
Yep.
Like
Absolutely.
if they're in a 2 quarterback league, if Baker or Goff are my number 2 guy, I'm super okay with it.
Yeah, love that.
There are a bunch of quarterbacks that performed under the 20-point mark that are rostered on basically every team, including my quarterback, Joe Burrow. You guys are saying don't freak out if you have Dak Prescott and he only went for 10, or if you have Brock Purdy and he only went for 10. You don't think your team is in trouble if you have Caleb Williams at the helm.
Caleb Williams, I'm absolutely looking at other options. I understand the excitement. Maybe don't drop him because he's got to do more. He's got to throw more than 89 yards, right? Maybe
This will be the worst game of his career.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's a reason you drafted these guys. Like we said, don't freak out. Burrow will be fine. Higgins will probably be back next week, I hope. And the Patriots have always been a well-coached team, always have a solid defense. You have a defensive player running the team. So you just got to be patient. I wouldn't drop those quarterbacks.
Trevor Lawrence?
I'd be okay taking someone like Baker over Trevor.
Yeah.
Trevor's going to bounce back. He'll be fine.
Owned in most leagues, and that's weird to me because he's not good at all, is Justin Herbert, who went for only 11 points. I have a personal opinion on this guy. I think he is complete booty. I think he does not win games. I think he turns it over. If you currently are relying on Justin Herbert, stop. Get rid of him. Pick up any other name we just named. That dude is terrible.
I don't know about that.
After I watched his left and right tackle, including a rookie in his first game, shut down Mason Crosby, like that was impressive. Like impressive. If he has time to throw this year, I don't care if he doesn't have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Herbert's going to put up a ton of volume.
He also has a decent. He has a decent schedule, man. He doesn't have that many hard games. He's got Pittsburgh in week 3. He's got Kansas City week 4. He has a good defense, but he's going to have to throw the ball a lot. Yes, you have bad receivers, but I mean, dude, he's good at football. He's going to make plays.
He outscored Aaron Rodgers by a point. Aaron Rodgers outscored Kirk Cousins by a point, and all those guys outscored Taysom Hill by 2 points. So
I'm going to go back to Trevor Lawrence real quick. He's got a brutal schedule, so you may be able to drop him.
Now, if Justin Herbert plays the Carolina Panthers out of the local community college league, they will be out there next week.
The LCC?
Incoming 30 bomb.
Yeah, here comes Herbert with 3 touchdowns. My line's 3 touchdowns for Justin Herbert this week.
That right tackle he's got over there, Trey Pipkins, he went to Sioux Falls. I remember I actually had a couple conversations with him when I was thinking about going to Sioux Falls. And I saw him last year. He shut down Micah. So that guy's definitely no fluke. So if Max Crosby got the clamps put on him, that definitely tracks, and he's still going to get better. So if he's got a good line, that does help Herbert's case, and maybe he'll prove Fred wrong one of these weeks.
He is a little bit capped on upside just because Jim Harbaugh loves running the ball. So that's something to keep in mind too.
Walk me back from the edge on Will Levis.
Shouldn't have been on your team.
I'm gonna launch you over the edge. Get him off
There
your
is
team.
no walking off that ledge, man.
He's got such a big arm, boys.
Your screensaver on your phone needs to be him on his knees with his hands on his head.
I mean, he couldn't win a job in college. He had to leave Penn State. He went to Kentucky. He was fine, but he's got a great arm. But how many guys in the league? Joe Milton's got a cannon for an arm, and he's the third string quarterback. Levis is booty, in my opinion. I think he's terrible. Give me Bryce Young over Will Levis.
Any
day of the week.
But
gross.
I would rather play Gardner.
That's the only guy I'm not taking.
Interesting because I have Gardner Minshew as my other starting quarterback.
I would play him 100%.
I meant Bryce Young in a real life football thing, not fantasy. Don't touch Bryce Young. Okay, sorry, in a real life football.
Stay away.
Don't play all three of those guys. Bryce Young, Will Levis, or Gardner Minshew.
Well, if Gardner Minshew had taken 4 sacks, might have been a little better off.
Well, he's going to keep getting that because his O-line is bad.
Well, Fred's zero QB strategy. This is what you end up with. You know, Levis and Minshew and Young and Jones.
Well, like the thing about Gardner Minshew is Gardner Minshew completed the 4th amount of highest completions. He had 25 completions. Like Gardner Minshew is a guy that's gonna throw the ball around. Like people are gonna catch it. He just stands in the pocket a little too long sometimes. Idiot.
Well, fortunately, sacks don't count as negative points. But
they don't count as touchdown passes.
They do.
But
they do in my 2 QB league.
That's pretty cool.
Sacks count against you.
Really?
But it's very cruel, and I love it.
Yeah, I like that too. But as we said, this is the worst week for quarterbacks. So keep thinking Baker. Gardner Minshew will not be good going forward.
Just looks so cool.
Baker's going to be good. So if you can get Baker, that's a good ad for sure.
If you're looking for a tone setter and a vibe setter in your team, I can see Gardner Minshew being the guy.
Straight up.
But if there's not points for vibe, I'm moving on.
Yeah, if you get points for hair and mustache, you want it.
Van, do we get points for
We
her?
do. It's only 1 point, but we do.
I mean, that's one. I needed that
That's
one.
almost more points than Daniel Jones had.
Yep.
Nice. When we get back from the break, underperformers from across the weekend, we start with the running back position. It's 2 Men On, 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal.
Mike's hot.
Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to 2 Men On. We are live at Duke City Cages. Come hang out with the boys. The bats are starting to ring.
Yeah, love this.
Yeah, and that one sounds horrible. It's a one piece for sure.
Those Marucci's are so loud.
Oh, except you can't make contact.
Jared Gay, who's hit a bunch of home runs at Isotopes Park,
Just a
Do
few.
you count those? Like, how does that look in your head?
Okay, like besides the fact that almost all of those are going out if I was hitting from home plate,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
if we did that from home plate,
Yeah.
my team wins without a doubt because Jocelyn could hit that far. Manny would have had to put a little more into it.
Yeah.
But pretty much every ball I hit would have went out if I was hitting from home plate. So, I count every single one of them.
That a baby.
Yeah, if it's landing on the playground, it's going out from home plate.
Yeah. There was you and I haven't talked about it. So obviously you participated in the home run derby where you eliminated in the first round. And as we were watching it, it's so fun to watch you swing and then watch the entire crowd's head go like pan left to pan right and up. Like it was a super cool thing, and so very proud were we of you to be there. So good job losing in the home run derby.
Thank you. It was such a blessing to be there and to lose in the first round.
Like to your namesake, like Jared Meng,
He carried the team.
Yeah.
like the guy you're named after. Jared
Yes.
Meng. Like
Jared Gay carried the team.
Yeah, exactly.
Manny disappointed.
So it's funny. It was I kept up with Home Run Derby X, and Manny and Jocelyn have won the last 2 weeks.
Nah.
It's because Manny is raking now.
Oh, dude, I'm seeing the ball.
got
he's
warmed
hitting.
up.
Oh my
Uh.
gosh! And I'm like, I know I'm not the reason I lost because I definitely hit more than any of those guys. It's just because we went against Jared May.
Sure.
If we had made it to the next round, we would have annihilated the other teams.
Right.
So it's unfortunate.
you think you get like Jared Meng on the show, or like what's up? You think you just like
I totally good.
think
Come
you
on,
just
talk some
reach out,
fantasy with
just-
us?
Yeah, just wondering.
Is he better at fantasy than
we
you
picked
two?
the wrong
There's
Jared.
no shot.
Yeah.
You know, we
There's no
picked the wrong
shot.
Jared. That's the problem. We should have been Meng
Well,
Men the whole time.
You picked the Jared who's not currently hurt.
That's
He did hurt himself during that home run
No,
derby.
he did
That's
not.
why he subbed out. He pulled his obliques.
Oh, I didn't know
because the
that.
turf was wet. Not me.
Nah.
I would never get hurt. Never.
It's probably because Jared Mang hasn't ran in like 6 years.
Yeah, he knows. He goes, I'm not in the best of shape as I should be in.
And then almost sets a record for Home Run Derby X, out
Yeah.
of shape and injured.
Oh, he only had one
Well,
round.
no,
in.
well, he injured at the second round.
Oh, second round he got
Yeah.
injured. Oh, okay.
Otherwise, they might have won. Who knows?
There would have been something fun to be out there when the rain hit, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Like how cool that would have been.
Yeah,
yeah.
except if you're sitting in the stands.
It's-
It's freezing cold.
They my lady was in the stands and she was like sought shelter so fast, and where she was sitting you could just see it roll in, and she was like it was like in the movie Twisters.
Yeah, we're in the dugout and I'm seeing it. I'm like, it's not raining. Oh, here it comes.
Yeah, 'cause
all
it-
down.
It hit the football field first, and you could see it on the lights. We're like, this is going to be bad.
Luckily, it stopped and we got to finish it off.
Talking the world of fantasy football with the Gay Boys, Simon and Jared Gay. They are with us. Thank you for joining us on the live stream. We're getting your questions at 505-246-0610. Thank you for texting the program. That's awesome for us. We will work them in. The biggest underperformer of the weekend, not even close, hands down. If you argue it, you are wrong. Don't hit me with Christian McCaffrey. He was out. Is Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. Is actually in the back of a milk carton right now, and that's crazy.
So I saw some of I was watching a little film I'm seeing on
Oh, were you?
on
Yeah.
X or
Yeah,
Twitter, whatever
you
you
have
want
the
to
all
call it.
11 up? Did you?
So if you watch the routes he's running and you're watching what Michael Wilson's running on the other side of the field, Marvin Harrison should be running the routes that Michael Wilson is because Wilson's open. And Harrison's just running go routes.
He's also running slow.
And he does not look fast. That's another thing. And this is the biggest reason why we told you not to draft him. He's unbelievable. He is just as talented, if not more, than Calvin Johnson and Jamar Chase coming into the league. But this is why we said don't draft him. And it's perfect. One catch for 4 yards. It's nice to have it prove our point, but he will do well. He's going to be amazing. But this is why we said you don't draft a rookie wide receiver in the first or second round.
Hard agree.
Drake London also sucked.
He was bad. Kirk Cousins was
Everybody on
bad,
the
though.
Falcons, everybody on the Falcons offense did terrible, it seems.
Not Kyle Pitts. It's like tight end 2 or 3.
He's tight end 1.
No, he was not. Likely he was tight end
Oh,
1.
sorry, tight end 2.
I'm gonna say, how do you do? Because he was on the
I
fantasy
think he had like
team.
11 points. He caught a touchdown. He was wide open and took Kirk Cousins a year to throw him the ball.
Well,
But also on that, Kirk Cousins looked horrible.
Awful.
If you watch his drop back, he puts zero weight on his right foot. He doesn't step first with his right foot, which is what he does on every other play the last 10 years of his career. He's like sidestepping and then stepping back with his left foot. So every single step he's taking on his drop back is not what it usually was.
And I believe he didn't. There was something about him being under center and not handing the ball off, or they just like everything was out of the shotgun or out of the pistol.
I think every single play was out of shotgun.
That's my point. So he could not roll out, could not step back, and he couldn't push. So like him saying, usually if he's always dropping with his right foot, now he's going left. That's crazy. He's been playing quarterback for 10 or 12 years.
There might be an undisclosed injury there because this is one of the weirdest stats of the whole weekend. He only got outside of the tackles on 1 out of like 53 plays. Well, he got outside of the tackles.
If you just watch it, it looks weird. Like he's not every pass he would hike it, take like 2 steps and throw it.
He's not coming off the healthiest season of his career.
Definitely not.
And Atlanta definitely knew that when they took a quarterback in the first round.
It's looking like a real good pick.
Yeah.
The investment in Kirk Cousins was bad, but the real reason we believe in Drake London, reason you invested so much into him, is because we thought Kirk Cousins had it. And I think he'll come back just like Rodgers working through it. But
you're talking about him pushing through it. I thought it was a push as far as expectations for Sam Laporta, but I thought it was an absolute goose egg from Amon-Ra St. Brown. Boys, he got the contract. Is he just giving up?
No, it's a game plan thing. I mean, he saw, was it 6 targets? 6?
He's also like double covered on every play.
Yeah, and that's why
he's going to catch the ball and he's getting smacked every play. So it's either a bad throw or just being covered by 2 or 3 guys. And I didn't watch that game very closely, so I couldn't say. But
the fact that one of Sam Laporta or Amon-Ra didn't do anything is very worrisome. When one of those guys is covered, the other one's got to be open, right? That's the rule. Instead, it was Jameson Williams. So there's something weird going on. Keep an eye out for it. If somebody is willing to trade you for Amon-Ra at the price you drafted him, it's worth a shot. But do not sell low on these guys. You got to just be patient.
Are the Ravens done going to Mark Andrews and their offense? Only 2 targets. He did catch them both, 14 total yards. That is bottom tier.
Yeah, it was not good. But he was also hurt at the end of the season. It's hard to say. I mean, you can't drop him.
There's another tight end that's doing pretty well there.
Yeah, you can't drop him. You can't trade him because his value's low. You just got to hold him and hope he gets better.
So if you have Andrew Simon, are you going harder or not as hard for Isaiah Likely?
Probably harder because then you have both of them.
It's basically, it's weird to handcuff your tight end, but it's also okay to handcuff a tight end who just scored 30 points.
Sure.
We're not talking, what's 2 Saints tight ends? We're going Mark Andrews or Likely, one of them.
Likely, he's built a little different too. He doesn't look like a traditional over-the-middle guy. He's definitely an outside, and I think not afraid as Lamar Jackson to get outside the tackle box and then find that big body boy as he's moving towards the sideline. Could be a lot of production there. Another tight end that was not good was George Kittle. He only scored 8 points over the weekend. I think for most tight ends on it, you'd be like, that is fine. For George Kittle, that seems like underproduction.
He's a very boomer bust guy. I'm very surprised at his usage. Granted, I mean, you had Jordan Mason doing whatever he wanted on the ground. Again, you got to be patient with him. Don't make an impulse decision. If somebody wants to buy George Kittle from you for the right price, maybe you move on. But he's hit or miss. Next week could be 102 touchdowns. I
mentioned in other previous weeks, he's the most inconsistent tight end. And when you draft him, you know what you're getting. And he's going to win you a week, and he's probably going to lose you a week when he scores 1 point. So
there were only 2 tight ends in the top 40 receivers. It was an awful week for tight ends.
Well, and Travis Kelce did worse than George Kittle.
It's because he was worried about the PGA, or what's it called? The tennis one. That's not PGA.
The US Open.
He's too worried about that. As soon as the game's over, he flies to wherever he was to watch the US Open.
He's a big tennis guy?
I think Taylor Swift's a big tennis guy, and he's too focused on that.
You heard first. Taylor Swift, big tennis guy.
Trade him.
I thought his brother was terrible on the Monday Night Football stuff.
He also didn't bring clothes with him. You hear that?
That was weird.
He had to buy clothes because he didn't bring his bag with him. How do you forget your bag?
His assistant didn't bring his bag. His new assistant will.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's also you send your assistant out a day early. Like, I don't know if we really have ever talked about this like on air, but this is TV 101. Your assistant goes out the day early. The hotel is ready. Your stuff is dry cleaned and laid out. All you do is show up and go to production meetings.
So he pulled it to Shedeur Sanders. He blamed everybody else.
Nice. That's a good move.
That's crazy.
That's a good move. Brandon Ayuk didn't play in the preseason, and he didn't really play yesterday. 4.8 total. I don't think I'm freaking out, but if you're a guy who is basing the success of your team off Brandon Ayuk, your team is not going to be successful.
Yeah, there's a reason he's going third or fourth round. So you had a couple other guys, to get your team going. I'm not worried. I mean, if I say I'm worried, Simon's probably going to hit me. So I'm not. You just give it some time.
He also dropped a touchdown that he never drops. It's because he didn't. It's probably because he didn't play. It's what Peyton Manning said.
Yeah,
it's because he didn't play in the preseason and training camp. Give him some time. He'll get back on track with Brock Purdy.
Drop Dalton Kincaid.
Absolutely not.
How dare you? That one hurts. Our first bill, and it says drop him. No, give it time. They honed in on him. Josh Allen's going to spread it around. It does cap the upside of Kincaid because he is the biggest name that the Bills have. Just like how the Chiefs didn't really need Travis Kelce, and he spread it elsewhere. So be patient.
Olave.
Don't worry about it. Move on next week.
Dang, I mean that's like a okay.
Don't really need to elaborate on that one. He's one of the most talented wide receivers.
A lot of these guys that
in the
busted,
NFL.
you can't drop any of them. You can't trade any of them.
Well,
their
I
value
think
is too low. Right now.
I like. Well, that's a good point. But I
Also, like in a lot of leagues, you literally can't drop him because he's probably one of your first two picks. Yeah,
That's true.
You can't even click the box next to his name.
This is going to sound like a weird sentence because it feels years too early. Are the best years of DK Metcalf behind him?
It's possible.
Was he 25, 26?
Yeah, he's never been the guy to be consistent. I mean,
They got three good wide receivers to feed.
Yeah,
in
it's just
Seattle.
it's more that if you put him on, let's just say the Bills, it would be. I mean, it's ridiculous.
it also sucks they re-signed Tyler Lockett. That really hurts him and Jackson Smith and Jigba.
So no, just he's fine. He'll be okay.
He'll score teens the rest of the year. He had some bad weeks last year. He'll be all right.
Amari Cooper did not have that day under 4 points. I don't trust him at all. And if you can trade him for anything, I would encourage you to.
Depends what's anything. Give me a name.
Raheem Mostert.
Yep.
I'm keeping Cooper.
I'm trading Cooper. He had a good year last year, but Watson looks bad. And I was hoping Watson would be good. I have him in the Dynasty League.
What if Jameis is the quarterback? You feeling better about Cooper?
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's just something. Just be aware that it's not
How likely is that to happen?
not very Isaiah likely.
Not very.
Or where's
Nice.
Flacco? Like he's an Indy,
He's on the
right? He's a
Colts, I
backup in
think.
Indy. Yeah.
Love that.
Trade for Flacco.
What's the update on T. Higgins?
I haven't seen anything today.
He has hamstrings from World War II.
I would expect him to be out. I would expect him to be
You know
out.
what that means?
They're old.
They're old, crusty rubber bands. I expect.
Has he got the swamp foot too?
I'm pretty sure every injury he's had has been a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
I think he had scarlet fever, which was
Yeah,
wild.
for sure.
Every time I look at T. Higgins the past like 2 years, it's like, oh, his hamstring hurts. Oh, his hamstring hurts.
I'd
He was
expect him to be
finally
out
healthy.
again. He'll be out another week.
We go away to come back, and when we get back, we're still at Duke City Cages. It's 2 Men On 95.9 FM and AM 610. Woo, Sports Animal. Guys, you can't believe it's September, and I can't believe that October 31st is right around the corner. Skeleton is back. That's right. It's the 11th annual Sheraton Uptown Skeleton to benefit Locker 505, the student clothing bank. That's 5 to 8 p.m., and it is wild and weird. It's a $1 haunted house, $1 carnival, and games, costume contest, prizes, concessions, free admission with the donation of new packaged socks or underwears for kids. You know, that's at the Sheraton Albuquerque Uptown. Go visit our friend Kim Kirshen and Locker 505 as they continue to help the community that we all live in. You guys have never been to this, but it's the coolest thing. They decorate the hotel rooms at the Sheraton into different themes, and you get to go trick-or-treating up and down the halls of the hotel, and you get to help a good cause.
That actually sounds
I'm gonna
awesome.
go get some free candy.
It's okay. You need a costume. Got to be very clear here.
I can wear a costume.
It is free trick or
I
treating.
still have my football jersey. I'll be a football player.
That's
Do you have a kid? Do you have a
is
a
there a
child?
child
You
you
have a
could take?
niece or nephew in your life?
That would
I was
help.
like
Can
6'5" when I was like 16. I still
Just gonna
trick-or-treated. I got
shave?
free candy.
Sweet.
Just gonna just take
Yeah,
the
just
Out
shirt
of
off.
just shave my
fear?
face. Give me that.
I'm not a superstition guy, but this Friday is Friday the 13th. That's all.
Make sure you lock your doors.
That's all I'm saying.
Simon's going to come to your house looking for candy.
6 weeks early in his football uniform. He's like, okay, guys. So my costume is this team I used to play on. It's like,
Oh, good
oh
one.
yeah, okay. You really went outside your box there.
I'll wear my mariachi jersey.
Yes.
Who are you? I'm Jared Gay.
I'm Jared Gay.
Don't you know?
What's your real name?
Yeah,
Jared Gay.
I'm the guy that lost in the first round of Home Run Derby X, even though my two teammates went on to win the next two derbies. But I swear it's not my fault. Is that
I'll
what
tell
you
you what. Yeah, he'll wear the mariachi jersey. I'll wear the Lobo gear.
Oh, that's adorbs.
That's too funny to me. Yeah, what do you even go as an adult, like for Halloween?
Some
There's
cute with your lady.
Mr. and Mrs. Incredible.
that's not
That's
okay.
what our parents do.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
They got full on, like legit costumes, like the fake muscles.
Yeah.
But my dad doesn't need the fake muscles.
He actually has muscle. That's a little extraneous, dude. That's a bit extra, pops.
Van and I just ordered our couple's Halloween costume. Obviously, I'm going as Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool, and he's going as Blake Lively's Deadpool. But we don't know like what other options. We get invited to so many parties. Like you just like Halloween costumes as an
Wear
adult
the
is
same
hard.
one to every party.
What? No, do you know how many
No way.
photos people
that
take
would
of
be
us?
hilarious.
I went. We had.
Hey, he was at 6 parties, dude. He was Deadpool every single one.
He was a different version of Deadpool every time. And then you can be, what's his name? Well, who's
put on a cowboy
who's
hat
his,
one.
Who's his partner?
Peter.
Peter. Dude, you got to be Peter.
Yeah.
But
I can be
different.
Peter.
The last year Halloween was on a Monday, and we were at Howie's, and I went as Hobo Hank, and I was like, "This is peak me. This is my existence."
I have a blonde wig, and the lady friend has a bunch of makeup, so I might go as the chimp crazy lady. Have you seen this? The Tiger King-ish
So
documentary on
I know
HBO.
what you're talking
Tanya
about.
Haddock.
She said she loves the chimps more than she loves her own kids.
Yeah. Multiple times. It wasn't one slip of the tongue.
Guys,
like,
She was dying on that hill.
Guys,
Yeah.
she said she like breastfed them. That's what this lady said in this documentary.
That's so
I've
hot.
been wanting to go as I've been wanting to go as like a scary clown for the longest, but I really feel like I'd get hurt. Like I feel like somebody would not take that joke very funny.
People might also confuse you for Deuce Vaughn.
You think so?
That's a super
be-
you
good.
think I could pull this off, Jared?
Oh, for sure.
Especially in your 0 Super Bowl win, Tony Romo jersey.
She calls herself the Barbie
Ugh.
Tiger Queen.
That's so weird.
It's so
Ugh.
weird.
You can pull it off, man.
I'm on it.
I think
Not shaving.
2025 is the year that people are going to get away from weirdo streaming shows. Like I can feel culture moving away from it. The election's going to go the right way. America's going to start to heal.
But this isn't like scripted reality TV. Like this is fantastic.
But people try too hard sometimes because they know.
Oh, she's trying very hard. She's trying extremely hard.
More sports and sports adjacent content where we get back, including Josh Sushan, who joins us. We're going to talk about the Isotopes game tonight. It's 2 Men On 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Channel. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to 2 Men On. The boys are at the Duke City Cages. Josh Sushan is over at Isotopes Park, and as a reminder, tonight's game will be broadcast on KTBL 94.5 FM and 1050 AM. Pre-game show starting at 6:15, and the first pitch scheduled for 6:35 p.m. Josh Sushan, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that welcome. I really appreciate Isaiah's music that he was. I like the music that came in. It felt very dramatic. I liked it a lot.
Very sensual.
I try.
Josh, Home Run Derby X loser Jared Gay is here with us on the program. Is there anything you'd like to ask him?
That's not a very nice introduction.
Oh, it's okay. It gets numb after a couple times.
Isotopes and Aviators meet for their second and final series of the year, and it's the first one here in Albuquerque. Way to finish the home season with the final home stand. Talk to us about the emotion in your world, Josh Sushan, how sad you are to see it go. Specifically, talk about how you never see the same team twice in the world of professional sports.
Well, I mean, shoot, day 1 to day 6 of a series nowadays, it might be a different roster. I mean, we played Las Vegas about 5 weeks ago, and looking at their lineup today, it's about half different than what it was just 5 weeks ago. And, that's sort of just, I don't know exactly how we got here in professional baseball and in minor league baseball with this. Sometimes it's good. That means that guys who are having a really good season get moved up from single A to double A and double A to triple A and triple A to the majors. But it also just feels like we've just lost so much continuity. It's so hard for fans, for media people, for everyone to kind of keep track of who's who and things like that. But in terms of like the last 2 weeks of the season, it's very bittersweet because let's face it, we're tired. It's a lot of games. It's a lot of travel. And you kind of look forward to just like, oh, I'm going to have my weekends off and then my nights off. But at the same time, I picked this profession for a reason. It's all I ever wanted to do. And I'm happiest when I get to do it. So, if it was up to me, the season would actually be longer, but we would have more breaks built in. But I know that's not happening. And so, you just kind of savor the last 2 weeks.
I mean, you mentioned like it's the end of the season. You've worked your rear off all year. How do you not get in that doldrum? How do you not, put in your 2 weeks and dial in? Like what's your process to stay tight?
You got a job to do, right? I mean, that's the thing. You got a job to do, and it's a job that I like. So, I don't look at it like, oh, this is a really difficult thing that I have to do. Like, I get to do this. If I don't want to do it, there's an extremely long line of people who are waiting to take my place, including the 2 guys who I talk to every day before I go on the air, right? So,
Joe Trop.
And feel sorry for myself or anything because I do what I like.
So you're not going to pull a White Sox and just officially dial it in for the rest of the season?
I know it's super cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. The idea is that you just do the job every single day to the best of your ability, right? And I know that this is a really lame answer. Obviously you get hyped up on certain days, on opening day, if it's a big series or it's a chance to go to the playoffs, I get really excited on baseball card night and Jackie Robinson night. And there's a few others that really get you going. The mariachi crowds get you going. But the bottom line is you never know what's going to happen in the game. Saturday night, Zach Bean had a straight steal of home. It was one of the it's the only time in my 11 years of doing this job that I've seen a straight steal of home. And I could kind of see it come on the way that he was measuring it and thinking about it. That was awesome. We had a game that a couple days before where Yanquiel Fernandez threw somebody out at home on the fly, and StatCast measured it at 101.3 miles an hour. So there's just always something really fun that you have the potential to see at a baseball game. And regardless of whether it's game 1 or game 139, whether the Topes are mathematically eliminated or whether they're on the brink, it's just fun. I like baseball. It's fun being at the ballpark.
The Isotopes on the outside looking in as far as the playoffs. But Greg Jones is sitting atop the PCL in stolen bases. It's kind of a fun historic marker for the year, right?
Yeah, he's got a chance to do something that only Dee Gordon has done, right? Dee Gordon stole 49 bases in 2013. And, our guy Greg is now at 44, and we still got 12 games left. I think he's going to get there. And even when I was looking at the number of games that Dee played compared to the number of games that, that Greg played, it's, it's Greg's played less. And so, again, these are like the fun things when you can kind of compare and contrast what one guy did one year compared to what somebody else did another year.
Josh, as you get ready for this final week of Isotopes baseball, what can the fan expect? Not just yourself, but what are the fan appreciation days, and what days is it best to get out to the ballpark?
Well, every day is great to get out to the ballpark,
Good
right?
answer.
Fan appreciation is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we have lots of prizes that we'll be giving away. And so we're doing it a little bit different this year, where there's a QR code that fans will scan, and then you kind of like spin a wheel. So we're doing it a little bit differently this year. It should be fun. We've got fireworks on Friday and Saturday as well, and so all of those things, and we always got some prizes. Your boy Dylan Storm's got a bunch of surprises that I don't even know about as well, that I'm sure that he'll have for the fans.
It's like last week that we're at home. Is there one night that really stands out to you? Or like, this is can't miss, friends of the show?
Ooh, let's see. So Saturday's the Players Award, and that's where the players themselves voted on team MVP, pitcher of the year, power hitter, all these different things. It's also the fan favorite and the community relations award, for who gets out in the community. So I think that's always a fun time to look back on who are the different things. And when your teammates vote for you, I think that becomes special. So arrive early for Saturday's game for that. Plus there's post-game fireworks. It's the final night game. Saturdays are always special here. Sunday's also going to be special because it's mariachis. We're calling it Final Fiesta. And so all of those things should make for really good candidates to come out.
Okay, incorrect. It's Friday, Two Manon's last show from
Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
answer.
that's the real
The whole
answer.
time that's been the
I'll
answer.
give you a moment if you'd like to correct yourself.
Yeah, no big deal.
Well, the last time
you got a Cricket's hot buttons there?
at Isotopes Park is Friday, so you want to do that. Of course, you can see them in person every day of the week
Somewhere.
because they're always out in the community doing shows somewhere live. But if you want to see them in their real element at Isotopes Park, you got to come Friday.
As a reminder, we pointed this out earlier, it's the best night of radio ever in the city. There's Lobo Talk, there's Isotopes Baseball, and there's Eric Strauss live reaction to the debate. But you can catch Isotopes Baseball on KTBL 94.5 FM, 10:50 a.m. pregame show starting at 6:15. First pitch is 6:35. And we can cut you loose a minute early, Josh, to make sure all the technology is right over there. Anything we missed, brother?
No, I think that's it. I appreciate the few extra minutes to make sure we're all good to go.
There we go. Josh Sushan, thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you.
Look good, dude. When we get back from the break, we continue down the world of the NFL. Also, friend of the show, welcome back. Welcome back to
yeah.
Sports Talk. The NFL is here. We got you every single day until February or until your Dallas Cowboys lose in the playoffs. Like, we have you. We will give you NFL talk from now until WrestleMania. Really, that's kind of it. That's the whole deal.
Is that a Cowboy Corner preview for Isaiah? Is that you telling him to get it cocked and loaded? You ready
Isaiah
to go?
Johnson's Cowboy Corner. Whenever we get back, it's 2 Men On 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Two Men On. We are live at Duke City Cages. Come hang out with your boys if you want to hang out with your boys. We're excited to I'm not saying we're going to run out of here, but the debate immediately follows the show tonight.
Is that 7?
It's at 7. It's the most important thing in the history of this country.
So no spoilers, please, because I'm running by Isotopes Park to say hi to some friends.
Oh, there's no way. They can wait.
Do not text my phone about what happens, because I'm going to watch it on record the second I get home.
You could have just said nothing. I probably wouldn't have texted you.
Yeah,
Now he's going to.
I'm going to block him for 3 hours.
I'm going to text
I've had
you.
him blocked much longer.
Yeah.
I have our group chat muted. Like, that's 100% true.
I had the chat you created for our league muted immediately.
Yeah, same.
My league with my friends is muted because it's out of control.
It's
It's
too
too
much.
much.
Yeah.
Speaking of out of control is the Cowboys Corner with Isaiah Johnson. Cowboys talk. Cowboys
Mhm.
talk. Cowboys talk. Cowboys talk.
And, you know, you can't get away from it no matter how much we want to.
What?
I hear people on the panels all the time. They're like, well, you know, we got to talk about the Cowboys. We're going to get kicked off the show. So, you know, it's just like a mandatory thing, but it's football season and it's much easier to talk football, but specifically the Cowboys, of course. And when the Cowboys win, life's great. But I want to hype on Demarion Overshown. He tore his ACL last year and he was flashing all off the screen in the preseason. He tears his ACL. He's a linebacker we got out of Texas. And this guy is an absolute stud. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler. I think Dallas has done it again. And, you know, no matter how much we hate on Jerry, there is no team that drafts better than Dallas as far as in hindsight. So when you look in hindsight, they are top of the league in draft picks. Since 2000, we're top 3. I believe we're actually second. I think the Packers may be the only other team that's first to draft more All-Pros. But I got a little soundbite I pulled just now from the weekend, and here we go.
Oh, is it from his new album?
Watson rolling away, looking for something. Nobody's open. He is decked, and the Cowboys take over. Demarion Overshown.
That's a good one. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I want to give you guys a little audio.
Very
Sound
pro
off.
Deshaun
Yeah,
Watson. Yeah.
Sure, I did that for you guys. But the special thing about him is he's not your typical linebacker. This guy was recruited and was the #1 player in the country as a safety. He's 6'4" and was 220 coming out of college. And he's made this transition to linebacker. And he's so fast that actually here on that play I just played, he covered over 14 yards in only 2.8 seconds, which is a closing speed of 5 yards per second. And what is one guy we know is a master at closing speed, and that's Micah Parsons. And Demarion Overshown just completely zips past Micah on this play specifically and makes Micah look like he's running in sand. So I would like to see him stay healthy. I'd like to see him keep wrecking the league. And see, the Commanders got Jaden Daniels. He's a scrambler. Jalen Hurts, he can run. But Demarion Overshown being there is somebody we did not have that can hopefully neutralize some of these dual threat quarterbacks. So he's something to be excited for in Cowboy Nation.
What I took from that, and by the way, when I heard Demarion Overshown's name, my dad said, did he say his name is Demorphian? I'm like, his name is not Demorphian. He's not like a Transformer. So I thought that was funny. But what I'm hearing is that if he's that good, you shouldn't pay Micah Parsons.
This guy's a true linebacker. Mike is a pass rusher. So
All right,
Mike Zimmer's got Micah with his hand in the dirt, but he did on one play and it completely bamboozled Watson. Micah dropped from the defensive end spot on the far side, and at the hike of the ball, he immediately sprints over to the opposite hash and covers that receiver, which Watson did not see coming. It caused another sack. And Overshown, he's a guy, he's going to be in the secondary. The second level, he's going to be another bullet out there. Because last year, Micah had to go play some linebacker because our linebackers could not get sideline to sideline. So now we've got a guy that I think can maybe not catch Jaden Daniels in a straight line, but he's going to make it a little tougher for the guy to want to leave the pocket for Jalen Hurts.
Sounds like Zay took the red pill on Demorpheus.
He's going to end up with 5 different nicknames.
Yeah, we're calling him. He was 0 in Texas. We were hoping he was going to be 0 for us. He'd be Agent 0. That's the name we had going for him. But yeah, he switched to number 13, so we're struggling.
Gilbert Arenas has entered the
Just
chat.
take somebody else's.
Oh, get a new nickname, dude.
He was also top 3 rated linebacker. Fred Warner was first. I forgot who was second. But Pro Football Focus had him rated 3rd.
Dude, Fred Warner's so good. Dude just
No,
flies around the field, man.
Oh my gosh, he's an awesome linebacker.
Complete disregard for his body's well-being. He goes, I'm going to rip this dude's head off.
Yeah, he just leaves his feet, which coaches will really tell you not to do, but he does it with like so much control. I think the hair just helps the whole visual effect. It just looks like
It's like seeing Steven Jackson play linebacker. I love it. Yeah.
He doesn't get a lot of credit, and I think it's just because of his ordinary ass name. If
Fred
he had like
Warner.
If he had like a cool name, like, did you see what Fred Warner did this weekend? Like, who, my accountant? Like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
give him the name DeMarvion Overshown. Are you kidding me? First ballot.
Yeah.
First ballot.
Yeah, it helps.
Better or worse, help me out here. The Dallas Cowboys, then the Miami Dolphins.
Better.
The Buffalo Bills.
Worse.
The Houston Texans.
Better. Of course I'm going to say the Bills.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Better.
The Baltimore Ravens.
Best in the league.
Better.
The Detroit Lions.
Worse, but it'd be close.
The San Francisco 49ers.
Worse.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Worse.
So we're looking at Dallas as like
Top 5.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, come
I
on.
think
Top 10.
I think they're
Top 10.
actually, I think they're top 5. I think it's the Chiefs, the 49ers, the Cowboys, Lions, Ravens.
I think Philadelphia is considerably better with the running.
Yeah,
back.
they're right there. Yeah, that's a good point. They're right there.
Barkley was nuts. Barkley was nuts.
I think head-to-head, Dallas will win. But again, if they play any other team, Philadelphia will.
Well, and speaking of newcomers, I was Saquon Barkley, which did that thing. Joe Mixon did that thing in Houston too. So I might put Dallas in the 7-8 spot right now.
Yeah.
Opportunity to climb.
It plays out. Like, are the Bills, would I put the Bills top 5? No, I'm not that delusional. Straight up, I think they beat the Dallas Cowboys, like in a game. But would I really say the Bills are better as a team? Probably not. I'm just, those are different things. Like, you might take the Eagles over the Cowboys, but in a game, I don't believe Hurts can pull it off. I think the Cowboys got that defense, man.
Well, Dak, I'm very happy to say that Dak does not get the jitters versus Philly. I've never seen him get the jitters versus Philly. I don't know why it is, but no matter how good they were, no matter what the hype was, he hasn't laid an egg versus Philly.
And Hurts, we've seen it. Hurts he did against the Bucs, man. He was bad.
Yeah.
I had a 25-time winner over the weekends, boys, with Prize Picks. Sam Laporta more than 27.5 receiving. Joshua Cardi hit more than 0.5 field goals. Jake Bates hit more than 0.5 field goals. Corinne Williams and Jamia Gibbs more than 0.5 rush receiving tutty combo. David Montgomery saved me in overtime, boys, with Amon-Ra St. Brown, the 0.5 more rush receive tutty. And then Cooper Kupp way more on the 33.5 receiving yards. Use promo code KNML, and we will match you up to $100 in your initial deposit on Prize Picks. Keep in mind that Caleb Williams is again, and he will be for the next 3 weeks, listed as 0.5 pass yards. So that's almost a sure thing to start this thing.
Might take the under this week. He didn't look good.
How do you? Here's a fun one. Josh Allen, 36.5 rush yards for next week.
So I took him. I had him at 20. Took the green one this week. 36
the
and a
goblin,
half.
the green goblin.
Yeah, I think I go. It's always weird to see all those numbers. You're like, there's no way they don't do it. All these are such easy overs, and then you go 0-for-5, and you're like, oh man. So he's gonna have to scale it back with the hand injury on a Thursday short week.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Thursday,
but all he needs is one. All he needs is one run.
Speaking of Thursdays, Devon Achane versus Buffalo is 0.5 rush receiving touchdown. And I tell you what, that one is a demon right now. Grab that extra multiplier.
If he plays, I'd go for that.
That would be one. Also, you get the insurance in Prize Picks as well, to where if your guy doesn't play, it doesn't hurt you. So go out there and be a player in it. How do you guys feel about in daily fantasy doing a Thursday night game? Do you feel
all for it?
Yeah,
I'll probably do one this week.
Same.
Thursday, if there's a game going on, which last week, what was there, 4 days? Yeah, I lost a little bit of money each day. So
I know one strategy I'm going to employ this coming weekend
Mhm.
for NFL on Prize Picks. I've never done it before, but it would have hit really hard last week. Is I go exactly opposite of what I think is going to happen.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I would have hit a 6-pack if I would have went exactly.
You went 0 for 6.
That's impressive.
No, I hit the Caleb Williams
You need to-
freebie, but the other 5 were exactly.
It's just as hard to go 0 for 6 as it is to go 6 for 6.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
exactly.
need to hedge your bet and just do both. Like whatever your thing is, if you think like, oh, this is a for sure 25 timeser, put that exact same bet on the other way. Because what are you gonna miss out on? $5 or whatever it is.
It's insanely more likely you're going to hit 3 or 4, but like all 5 of the non-freebies went oppo. It's like that one kind of hurt. That
Yeah,
one
you had
stung.
no idea what you're doing.
I had some good ones too, man.
I like Tyler Bass on Thursday more than 1.5 field goals. I feel that Buffalo will stall quite a bit. I also like University of New Mexico Lobo, Jason Sanders with Miami. Give me more than 1.5 field goals as well for he on Thursday night. I think he's an absolute player. Then where we go over to the popular picks, you think Josh Allen 36.5 rush yards is high? So do I. I want to take the less.
Yeah, I don't hate it. But of course, with any of these, it just takes one play to ruin it.
Yeah.
Josh, he's always ran against the Dolphins. I'm just worried about the hand. I think they'll take it easy on a short week.
Devon Achan, the 0.5 rush receiving tutties. I'm going to put that one in play. I like that one. The one where I get weird is receptions. Tyreek Hill with 7 seems high.
So the Bills have always limited Tyreek. You go back to last year. I'm actually interested in what it was.
Dalton Kincaid's 4.5 receptions. Will he have a bounce back?
How many?
4.5.
That's high. That's high.
Keon Coleman, 3.5 receptions.
I like that more than Kincaid's, but the thing is they spread it. I wouldn't want to bet on a Bills receiver.
Tyreek Hill over 109.5 is a demon.
Okay, so here's Buffalo last year. 5 targets, 3 catches for 58 yards. The other game against the Bills, 7 catches for 82 yards on 13 targets. I told you they take him away. So what I'm saying, that would be under 109.
Yeah, push it worse.
So under 7, I mean, he'll get the ball.
Dalton Kincaid, 45.5 receiving yards seems like an obvious less. I don't believe he's going to get the big play. I also don't believe he's going to get enough looks.
That's fair. I mean, if you had to bet, will a Bills receiver go over 50 yards? You'd be like, I don't know.
Not looking likely.
I like Kelsey having a bounce back week.
On Thursday night? He's not playing on
usually-
Thursday.
Yeah, I know.
Well, help me with my Thursday. I got one more left.
You already got the good ones.
What do we got for James Cook?
All right, so he's an interesting story.
So with exactly what you said about Josh Allen, I like him having low yardage, but getting into the end zone. That rushing touchdown that Josh Allen would have got, I think it'll go to Cook instead.
Is he an option for an anytime?
He is.
With the red one.
0.5, and it is a demon. Jump on that one.
Oh, I like that one. That's rush receiving touchdowns.
Correct.
All right, a minute. I got a whole lineup set, boys. I got a whole lineup set. I'm putting out my money. You should too. Use promo code KNML, and that will set you up with $100. Isaiah, have you ever done like an all Cowboys one?
It wouldn't let me. I have to pick somebody. Otherwise, I'd try.
Oh, because you have to have 2 teams.
You have to have 2 teams. It literally won't let
All
you.
right, so you know what I will count for you, Isaiah, and we should do this on Friday, is if you were to do all Cowboys like Moors or whatever,
yeah.
And then who are they playing this weekend?
We have the Saints.
And if you were to,
well, no, I got some good news for you. You got the
You
Caleb
more, yeah.
Williams freebie, and then you could do all Cowboys.
I was going to say pick against the Saints. Take all lesses on the Saints because
Okay.
that's like picking for the Cowboys.
Yeah, hopefully their numbers are boosted from the game they just had. I would love Derek Carr's numbers were boosted because
that's
they
a good
won't
point.
score- Yeah, they won't score very many points.
We continue with the program whenever we get back. We're just 30 short minutes away from Lobo Talk. Isaiah, you had a programming note on Lobo Talk. So it's not at Sandia, is that correct?
They are in studio today.
Oh, who knew?
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Are you producing?
of course.
All right, just let Rob cook. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, Rob will be here in studio. I'm told it will just be Rob in studio. The rest will be phone. So I don't think I've got to meet him yet.
He's the nicest human being.
You're in for a treat.
He's
He is
handsome,
a lovely human,
charismatic, smart.
Okay.
Is this Fred Slow or is this?
Well, he's also from St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, they're from the same place, I hear. So maybe that's why
There's just a lot of talent in that room. Just a lot of talent in the room when Rob Portnoy is in it. When we get back from the break, we continue from Duke City Cages. It's 2 Minutes on 95.9 FM and AM 610. Boo Sports Channel. Where we have been talking NFL and fantasy all day, and Van and Isaiah have been obsessed with this Colorado Buffaloes thing. We'll get it in because it's definitely not relevant tomorrow. I might argue it's not relevant today. Jared Gay's still with us. Simon Gay now on assignment.
I mean, we only had an hour and 15 minutes yesterday on the show. We had 3 today to recap yesterday and the weekend.
All right, so the short of the story is Deion Sanders, who surrounds himself with terrible people and has kind of proven himself to be a terrible coach, has told the band at the University of Colorado, the scholarship band, the kids who for their entire high school lives and then into collegiate lives have played their school's fight song at football games. He told them they could not do that.
Correct.
Because over the public address, Deion Sanders' son, Shadur has created a rap song very similar to the way that Deion Sanders was in music videos early in his professional career, not collegiate career.
Super correct.
So they are not allowed to play the Colorado Buffs fight song. They have to play Shadur Sanders' rap music. And here we go, Isaiah. You are playing Shadur Sanders after the Buffs score a tutty.
Correct.
We are ready.
Yes. So this is a song that plays whenever Shadur scores a touchdown. Correct.
Got it. Yes. That's the way it was explained to me.
Yeah, that's what I saw as well.
Already sucks.
Okay. Got a little rod wave in there.
Did he play the piano?
Perfect timing. Got them baguettes up on my neck, I stay shining. Around my dream, that's a climbing. I went and got that new Maybach, I stay grinding. They told me
he grinded for that Maybach.
Now, Isaiah, I know with technology and the SOS being another channel, this might not be doable. Is there a way to play the Buffaloes fight song?
Yeah.
I need to compare
it's
these
considerably better than this. By the way, I don't know if you know a lot about this generation of rap music, Fred, but a lot of the SoundCloud rappers, these trappers, they use auto-tune, right? They use auto-tune to sound like this. This is Shadur Sanders trying to rap like he's on auto-tune, but this is just his voice for some reason. This is so weird.
This is horrendous.
So I have found the fight song for the Colorado Buffaloes, and I'm going to play it right here via my microphone. So I don't know if this is going to be booty or not, but this is what Shadur is limiting the fans.
Let me guess. It's do 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 do. Nailed it. Go Buffaloes, do that thing. Go Shadur, touchdown. Yeah, Buffaloes.
He's not talking about it.
This is way better. This is so much better.
That's way better.
Yeah.
Go, Buffs.
I can't wait for Shadur to get drafted round 1. He's going to go in like the first round.
And at the rookie thing at training camp, when they have to do a talent, they make him perform his own rap song. I so quick. And again, like where I grew up, if you talk about the chain around your neck, somebody snatches the chain off your neck.
Sure.
Like that's the rules where I grew up. And that's what's going to happen to old boy. Like it will.
I don't know if he grew up in the mean streets of St. Louis. Like
sure.
I don't know if Shadur had that exposure.
That's a good point. It's an excellent point.
All you're doing is you're giving your opponent even more chalkboard material than the Colorado Buffaloes have already done. They're going to sack him, and they're going to do whatever stupid dance he does to this song, and it's going to be way more out of hand for the opponent than it will be the Buffaloes.
Jared, how old are you?
27.
Okay. Isaiah, how old are you?
27.
Okay. Van and I are old men.
Yep.
We don't get it. He's on the wrong side of 40. I'm creeping up on it. Why don't we think this is at all acceptable?
Oh, I don't.
You as well?
No, I think this is ridiculous.
Yes.
In the NFL, he scores a touchdown. Play his song. I get it.
Yes.
You're talking about, I mean, Deion has Deion's a joke. I did
He's a
like it.
joke.
I did like in the beginning.
Sure.
The Jackson State, that was so badass.
Building the facility.
I love that. It was so cool. And then he went to Colorado. That was fine too. And then he wanted to kick everyone out. I'm also okay with that because that's how this game works. His kids are good, but the rest of this is just.
What about the part where he said his kid was more important than the team and he should play his own rap song instead of the team fight song?
Well, that's where I'm going. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's bad. I mean, they've done this is such a blessing for Buffalo to have them. It is when this all happened. But now it's just like, at least people don't like hate Colorado. Like Colorado's still an awesome school. It's really cool. But like people just don't like Deion and his kids now.
Well, and also don't forget that Deion made the team attend the concert where Shedeur performed. I'm pretty sure it was this song.
You're making me so mad by saying this out loud.
This is so bad.
I remember they brought Ryan Garcia on and everything as like a guest appearance, and Ryan's up there on stage with Shedeur.
Ryan Garcia, the MMA guy?
Yes, this was right after he beat Haney. So like he was going on some type of victory tour, and he has no idea how to dance. So he starts dancing kind of awkward, and then he just out of reflex starts shadow boxing. Like this song. He hits a couple of dance moves and then starts throwing left hooks and uppercuts. It's the most awkward thing you could ever see.
I mean, if I could box like that, I'd probably only do that as my dancer. Just like 3 hours on the stage, just like
it was right after the win. He's like, "Let me show them what they're here to see."
I do my absolute best to try to understand what's going on a generation or two behind me. I don't want to be the guy who hates everything the youth does. Like, I think it's cool that Shedeur Sanders has his own rap song, like his dad. Go crazy, dude. Live your life. Get that money. I think that's awesome. But the second you demand the band stop playing,
okay, yeah, that's better.
100+ years of tradition, so you could play Shedeur's song.
Speaking of tradition, like what about like the alumni? What is Cordell Stewart saying about this?
They all hate it.
They have to, right? Like there are some guys, and who else went to Colorado? Chad Brown. Chad Brown went to Colorado. He could play. Played for the Seahawks. Played for the Steelers. Like there's a handful of Jeremy Bloom, who I know never really made in the NFL, but he changed collegiate sports forever. Like there's a handful of Colorado guys that deserve to be heard. Like
in Shedeur's shoes, it's like you gotta just imagine though. A lot of people complain about having a coach that was like perfect, or like some people say the best players can't be a coach because they're going to expect players to do the same. But imagine Deion being your dad, like not even from the athletic standpoint, but this is a guy who showed up to the combine in jeans. Okay. And he's basically like, I already know I'm not going to be here at this time. And he's walking out of draft rooms. So you have your dad, Deion, who had that approach, but then was able to back it up. So then you have Shedeur, and it's like, how humble can someone be if you grow up under Deion? It's like almost impossible.
Well, yeah,
so
it's kind of like,
I think it's not shocking.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, perfect example, Marvin Harrison Jr., pretty much the same age. Marvin Harrison played like he's a little bit younger than Deion, but you never heard a peep of that guy. You never heard anything bad about Marvin coming through college, and now he's still quiet. Nothing.
Through college.
Yeah. Hey,
also,
he's farther along than Shedeur is. And Shedeur's in college. And
not forgetting shot a guy.
Did Marvin Harrison shoot a guy?
Marvin Harrison shot a guy.
It was self-defense.
Self-offense.
And Marvin Harrison Jr. Would not sign his NFL likeness and collegiate likeness because he knew that it was a salty deal, and it turns out it wasn't for the reasons we thought.
Right.
It was because he actually figured out a way to leverage it for more money for himself. I guess that helps others somehow.
I obviously didn't think this through. That example.
The only
you think his dad was pulling those strings, or it was somebody in his corner? His agent?
Oh, his dad found his agent. All of these. Whenever we get back from the break, Jared breaks down the final segment with the must fantasy everythings for the waiver wire tonight and who you should trade for and all those things associated with the world of fantasy. It's 2 Men on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Channel. Cages. We're wrapping up the program today. Jared Gay has been with us. Absolute banger start to the fantasy season, brother. Way to go.
Oh, I mean, the actual football wasn't that exciting, but at least they were close games, right? I mean, it's outside
That's
of
all
a
you could
few.
ask for. Hey, defensive fans, if you're a football fan and you have a favorite defensive coordinator, you probably love this weekend.
We talked about guys who were successful. We talked about guys who struggled. Now talk to us about sleepers, Jared. Who's the guy for us to grab in the fantasy world, and what are some fantasy moves we have to make before the waiver wire tomorrow?
So we're talking, primarily guys we haven't talked about
Sure,
already.
I'll follow your heart. It's people listen in 15-minute intervals on the radio.
Okay,
We're
so
clear.
I still really like, we talked about J.K. Dobbins earlier. We didn't talk about Tank Bigsby. Okay, Tank Bigsby had 12 carries for 73 yards. He was twice as efficient as Trevor Etienne. Now Etienne did fumble into the end zone, so I get like that's how that works. But man, I kind of like him as a dart throw at that position. And then for wide receivers,
Tank Bigsby might not set the world on fire, but he is first team all name.
Yeah,
that is a dope football name. Tank Bigsby.
Now you can just change your team name to Tank Bigsby.
Yeah,
and then you're good.
That's genius.
For wide receivers, I'm gonna stick with if I say his name right. I know we talked about Devon Bell for the Denver Broncos. I think he's worth a grab for sure. A high, a low, yards per completion, yards per target guy, but it's worth a shot at this point. And then tight end, if you can't grab Isaiah Likely, it was a dark place for tight ends. I kind of like Colby Parkinson. I know, Van, we kind of talked about him.
I'll be going after Colby Parkinson in one of my leagues, not because I'm that high on him, because I desperately need somebody better than my guy.
How you feeling about the Chargers defense this week against our favorite Carolina Panthers?
Oh, yeah, for sure. If you got a stream of defense, that's the one.
I think that is absolutely the one. It's pretty much whoever plays the Panthers. If you need to hold the defense because they play the Panthers the following week,
yes,
you got to do it.
Rotation.
Ditch in the bat your second string quarterback or your second string tight end. Got to play those matchups. And Joey Bosa will destroy.
Say if you're in a good waiver position and maybe your team doesn't need help, who's the guy you're picking up to block another team from finding success?
Is this okay? We talked about burning waiver priority. Are we burning it here, or are we just talking? You're letting it go through, and then you're picking somebody.
If you're like me, and it's more important that Van fails than I succeed, who are you looking out on the waiver wire so you can just sabotage someone else?
Isaiah Likely.
Yeah,
take it.
Sure.
Take the shot. He's the only tight end with any upside. He was the only one who did anything this past week. Everyone's going to be going for him. So if you can cause havoc in your league, which that's why we play this game. Right, you try to make everyone else's life miserable, and maybe you win a few games mixed in with that. So I think Likely's the guy.
All right, I have my personal fantasy football team up here, which I often argue is the worst radio in all of radio. I'm looking at my top availables. I did win this week. I do have. Thank you. I have struggles at certain positions, primarily quarterback.
Yes, you do.
Of the guys available, are any of these guys worth it? Russell Wilson, no. Jacoby Brissett,
no.
Malik Willis,
no. Who are your quarterbacks?
No. Bryce Young,
no. You have to ride out with who you got.
Justin Fields,
yes.
No.
Yes. As horrible as your quarterbacks are, I would go Justin Fields over those quarterbacks.
Bryce Young could be.
Who you got? You got Gardner and who?
Will Levis.
Yeah.
Give me Justin Fields, baby.
For those of you just listening and you're not watching on YouTube Live or Facebook Live or Instagram Live, you should have seen Jared's face when Fred said Will Levis and Gardner Minshew. The look of disgust on your face was absolutely priceless.
You should go trade for a quarterback. And I remember I said about an hour ago, I will never trade for a quarterback. Fred, go trade for a quarterback.
I'm currently looking at a trade proposal. Bo Nix for Raheem Mostert.
No. Give me Justin Fields.
Bo Nix is going to take 6 to 8 weeks to get any good.
Do you boys play Christian Watson, or should I put a waiver wire request on Alan Lazard?
Lazard. You can't play Watson. If Malik Willis might throw for 12 yards, he'll throw for 100.
It's going to be rough, man.
Yeah,
just like Lazard.
Yeah, and maybe there's a chance to get blown out again, and then Tyrod's going to throw it to Lazard because he just did it.
Look, I really, really hope the NFL does the right thing and suspends Deshaun Watson and the Browns have the freedom to get rid of his contract. With that being said, if you're that hurting for a quarterback, stash Jameis Winston. because I hope the NFL morality prevails and they get rid of Deshaun Watson and make an example out of Deshaun Watson. And we all know Jameis Winston can light it up. You're going to eat some interceptions, but Jameis Winston.
Flacco did the same thing. He got them in the playoffs.
Yeah. He threw 40 touchdowns and he was blind. Like,
you hear him talk about
he got
that?
LASIK. He got LASIK. He like actually see the receivers now.
He goes, I kind of see our number on the scoreboard, and my goal was to try to change it. I don't know what the number was.
Yes.
He goes,
yes.
I couldn't really read stop signs. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
The word stop is so big on those signs.
Luckily the sign's red, man.
Yeah. Also, he's colorblind.
Also, he's colorful.
It's an octagon. It's the only octagon one.
He goes out there and he goes, I really like when the Giants wear those helmets. It helps me a ton. Like,
no one else has that design.
That's so funny. Yeah, the world of fantasy, it's bigger than ever, right? Like we joke about it, and we play with the boys, and we have these terrible group texts that we read in bulk after our work days.
And mute them.
Yes, it's that kind of thing. But it is kind of fun to play with the fam or to play with the office or to play with whatever. Do your guys' leagues have anything fun on the line? Is it anything more than bragging or a couple bucks? I
have a big trophy for
Yeah.
mine. A decent amount of money. You get an NFL jersey from one of the guys on your team. And then last place, you do the stickers for the entire draft, and you're also the drink runner.
That's nice.
Called
I
something
like
else
that.
during the draft.
I like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Outside of that, nothing crazy. Did you see the one where the guy has to go to a bar at 6 a.m. and for every drink, he has to be there from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. And every drink he does, he cuts it down half an hour. I think he got out at like 7 p.m., but just like disgusting how much. I mean, that would be brutal. I would never.
Wild that they call that punishment. Because I've done that at Howie's Sports page.
6 a.m.?
I've opened.
They open at 9.
Yeah,
we could do 9.
Okay,
Yeah.
not 6.
Yeah, I've done that before. That sounds like a lovely day off.
I'd want to. I would.
Can I lose on purpose?
That's similar to what you're saying. The guy at the bar. There was a guy at McDonald's who had to eat his way out. Did you see that
Yeah,
one?
it's like hash brown for 15 minutes.
Everything on the menu had like a time allotted to it. Like Big Mac was like 45 minutes off.
That's so
like,
sweet.
Yeah. So you had to do 24 hours in a McDonald's or eat your way out.
I do like the shame ones. You know, the ones that are like,
yeah,
hey, your least favorite team's jersey, you have to wear. Some of Homies, Duke City Championship Wrestling has this fun supporter group called Homies. And they were walking around the UNM tailgate, and it was anytime they went to a tailgate, because whoever lost in the fantasy league had to wear like the rival, like the Philadelphia Eagles jersey or whatever. And I'm like, that's a good one.
That's good.
Like hurt him
Yeah.
mentally.
You don't have to go eat at McDonald's for 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's legit dangerous.
Oh, yeah. The bar's dangerous.
It's actually dangerous. For you, maybe.
There was one I just saw. It was a 2-4-6-8. You have 90 minutes, or you get the last pick in the draft no matter what. 2 miles, treadmill, 4 slices of pizza, 6 beers, 8 donuts, 90 minutes.
Oh, like
What kind of
my
donuts?
normal cheat day? You're describing this punishment.
You
This
do 2
sounds
miles.
awesome.
You do 2 miles on your cheat day.
Well, before I eat like that.
And
Not during.
Rest in peace, the guy from Super Size Me. McDonald's is definitely dangerous. I don't know if his body ever recovered from that.
Did he die?
died,
That's
dude.
a kind of a gray area there.
There's a
'cause
lot of
also-
drinking.
Yeah, there's also battling alcoholism.
Yeah, I
Oh, I
mean,
didn't know all that.
yeah.
It's not as straightforward as you think.
His name was Morgan Spurlock, and he one controversy was
Yeah.
associated with that little
he
experiment.
he had his fantasy punishment every day.
Yeah, yeah.
6-2 at the
His deal was 3 times a day, and if they asked him if he wanted to supersize it, he said yes. Like
Yeah.
that was it. And then, as it turns out, he had a crippling alcoholism and depression, and that's why his body decayed so drastically.
Less about the supersize.
And McDonald's.
Yeah, also
You
McDonald's.
can't completely discount it.
I went through the other day because I got the beaties.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, let me get that Big Mac low carb, which is like no bun, right?
Right.
And the gal's like, what? And I'm like,
with that tone. That was the exact tone you got
like,
too.
I was like,
For
okay,
real?
yeah, I messed up. Just put it in the box without a bun.
Just wrap it in
a
lettuce.
couple extra beds of lettuce.
And that's what, because it's
It's just a shredded lettuce.
shredded lettuce.
You had a taco salad
Yeah.
with a Big Mac.
I was like, oh, okay. I'm learning this new life of health and torture. Lobo Talk is after us, and they're in studio. So it's Robert Portnoy, and then he's going to have it's exact same, Isaiah, as far as format. Like the coaches are going to join. They're doing an hour, no other change. So you can catch that and then do like Van, start to watch the debate an hour in.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm not watching it live an hour in. I'm starting it.
I'm going to text you. I'm going to watch it just to ruin it for you.
Is this your first debate?
I'm not answering any
I'm
questions.
not for. No, I watched I watched Trump and Biden.
Woo.
Yeah, that was
a
it was
white
a
knuckle
joke.
thrill,
Dude,
right?
this year, if it was Trump and Biden again,
Triple
just
jokes.
10x what happened last year.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I've seen it before. I won't be watching it though.
My favorite one was the one they did at University of Washington in St. Louis when it was Hillary and Trump. And the whole time, like, she has a microphone, she's only turning her back to him. And he, like, can't believe she's not looking at him. And then whenever he gets it, he's like, put you in jail. you're like, oh, it's over. He won.
Nice.
He won the whole thing with that one quip. That's how important these things are.
Yeah.
And, like, the audience, like, the sound bites that he makes, they're the most consumable thing of all time.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Yeah. Like, he knows what audio drugs sound like. That's what they sound like, the things that he says. Anyway, so the debate's about to start.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
We should live stream it.
Isaiah, you still with us? So as we wrap this one up, we go over to Lobo Talk. Also, strong possibility, Van. We lost the connection to the station.
Strong possibility they kicked us off. Went to the Lobo Talk commercial because I don't see or hear Zay. So
A little bit of filler
this is fun
on the live stream. Final words, man?
Too much time allotted, my friend. Anything we didn't cover, make sure you check out tomorrow morning on the opening drive with Jeff and JJ.
Jared Gay?
Don't overreact to guys playing poorly last week.
Good job, everyone. Keep breathing.
See you.